You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer.
All right, good morning and welcome in. Happy Wednesday. It is Happer and Schaefer, just like the song says, on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer and Mike Schaefer with you, and Joey Colbert as well. Coming off of a night of basketball and only a little bit more Bill Moose talk today. Excited about that. Good morning, Schaefer.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Frazzled, scrambling.
Why? What's going on?
Just the turnaround of the night game. Not feeling like I did any prep last night other than attending the game. Trying to put it all together here this morning because I didn't want to wake up any earlier than I usually do.
Nobody.
That is like maybe the most difficult part of this, because if the show started at 7, it would be easier to like get yourself up to do a little bit beforehand.
Exactly.
But here it's very much you wake up, you get to the studio, you have whatever time in between to do what you didn't do the night before. And here we are.
In fact, it should actually be, in college football, we always talk about like teams who are, this has been the story of college football for a long time. Everybody's trying to find an edge, right? And so people are also trying to find edges. And what they have found is that they could wake up early and they could be productive. And
largely been an edge in my life.
You could have an edge that way if you start working before everybody else starts to work. Nobody should be waking up before 5 o'clock. It should be illegal. You should not.
I don't know if it should be illegal
to work up before 5,
but it's certainly an impossible thing for me to do. I mean, I've tried it one time so far, and I just went back to sleep until 5.
Yeah, so. No, that's not going to work for you.
Just wait until Nebraska gets to the West Coast later on the season.
Yeah, that 10 o'clock game against UCLA.
Are they? Is that really that late?
Yeah, it's a 10 o'clock tip.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Not fun.
Well, I guess Creighton plays at 8 tonight, and then they play at 8 the next week as well.
No, they play 6 at UConn. So it's DePaul today. Next Wednesday's at UConn, and then the Wednesday after that, it's the return game.
Again. Yeah, and it's also 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
That's the one I was thinking.
Yeah.
Exciting. We love late college basketball games, and we love being on the West Coast of our respective conferences. Well, I guess I forget about USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington. But anyway, here we go on a Wednesday talking about Nebraska basketball. Last night, who loses at home to Purdue. A variety of different angles there. Didn't get off to a good start for the Huskers, but came all the way back late. The win probability, KenPom win probability chart is hilarious. It is way up and way down and way up and way down. Even in overtime, there's some obviously big shifts there. So we will talk about that. It was probably one of the games of the night, if not the game of the night in college basketball. I suppose I could see who won the thrill score in general last night, according to KenPom. It was not. Wow. Somehow the non-overtime Vanderbilt-Auburn game won thrill score last night. Did it win excitement level? No, it did not win excitement level last night. Sad. Anyway,
I guess it won't receive a consolation prize of also not winning the game either.
No, that's the worst part. If you lose, you at least want to win thrill score on KenPom. That's what I always think about first. And
until the start of this show, I had never considered the thrill score at KenPom ever.
Oh wow!
And now
you got to start thinking about it.
I guess I'm very as usual with these things. I want to know like what. There's
formula? like a comeback,
like
there's a win probability at a certain time,
sure.
Like so there's that, there's how big of shots people were making.
So what did Vanderbilt, Auburn? Vanderbilt
So
was up big.
They
when
finished number one in the comeback score.
Okay, so Auburn came back and won.
No, Vanderbilt won by 8. I don't know how.
Vanderbilt was like up big in that game though.
Yes, Vanderbilt was up big. Wow. Huh. I wonder how that happened. Nebraska had a much better comeback than them.
Question thrill score.
You're wondering about Ken Pom? Don't question Ken Pom. And then we had the game after Nebraska and Purdue last night with TCU and Iowa State, and my eyes were burning because I had to watch a basketball game on TCU's garbage-looking court. And then one of my favorite teams, I was just mentioning to a friend in a chat yesterday that I was interested in putting some shekels on Iowa State to win the national championship, and then they go out and lay an egg at Purdue at TCU last night, and Jamie Dixon gets to be happy.
Yeah,
and
I was gonna say Jamie Dixon comes back with his usual making teams have to try to get to 60 points.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that guy.
He has been making college basketball less fun for 30 years.
I was gonna say, I instantly go to all of those pit teams that basically played just that, like, I don't even know what you would call the style. It's not quite
Hoopball?
It's not quite akin to like Mick Cronin at his Mick Croniest.
Oh, it's Cincinnati?
Cincinnati.
Okay, yeah.
It's not quite at that level, but it's not far from there either.
No, it's not.
They were pretty similar
ugly
enough that you could put them in the same grouping.
I do miss when Pittsburgh was relevant.
I do too.
The pit.
Yeah.
That was fun. But now
DeJuan
we just have
Blair and his nose ACLs.
And
do you
now
think Lindsey Vonn called DeJuan Blair and was like, "How did you do it?
How did you do it?" Yeah, Lindsey Vonn said that when she crashed, that had nothing to do with her torn ACL.
Well, and there's people that have said this. It's like there's something that happened with the pole.
She hit the pole. Yeah.
No, the skis, the pole she was using with that, like it's stuck. Like it didn't.
But she hit the flag thing, didn't she? Yeah.
There's something with the pole that it didn't operate in the manner of which she needed it to. I don't know. I mean, I'll take her word on it.
Yeah, she was the one skiing 100 miles an hour down the hill, I suppose. So
I mean, it was like at the Super Bowl party I was at, which was all just in-laws. There was like a discussion as to whether she should have bowed out or not and let someone else ski in her place because she had that injury. And it's like, it's Lindsey Vonn.
Yeah, she can do whatever she wants.
She's
the greatest, one of the greatest Olympians we've had.
She wants to come back and go for 2030. Are you going to tell her no?
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
So
a great take by you. Excellent job.
It was in the minority of the takes over there.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care about how many.
It surprised me we were having the discussion to begin with.
I don't care about how many like gold medals the USA wins. Like I just, you
want individual greatness when it has the opportunity.
Absolutely,
yeah, I agree.
Absolutely,
I'm with that.
That's what the Olympics are there for. All right, today on the show on this Wednesday, we will have a chat with Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald coming up at 8:30. Lauren Michelson will join the show. Was she in Lincoln last night? I don't know if
she was.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
You saw some reports?
Well, I saw some tweets from her.
Yeah, she had videos.
All right, 9:15 for Lauren from KETV, and that is our lineup today. Of course, we'll talk plenty about Nebraska basketball. I want to ask Schaefer that NFL question that we didn't get to yesterday. We will have our first ever college basketball power rankings with tiers, and I'm very, very, very interested to see which direction Schaefer goes with it, because we, like normal, we didn't really give many parameters on this. It was kind of just like, yeah, kind of whatever you think, and wherever it ends up. So this will be exciting. We could go back and ask the question: is the FCS dying? With a whole bunch of different things that have happened over the last week or so here. We say goodbye to the Detroit Poop Bowl. Did you hear about this?
I saw that
it's gone.
What is it? The Rise Above
Game Above
Sports, formerly known as the Quick Lane, formerly known as the Little Caesars Bowl, is now dearly departed. Sadly,
it's sad.
It is very sad. And as a bowl game that I never wanted anyone that I cared about to go to, I'm sort of glad that it's a landmine that doesn't exist anymore.
I can't have a quick access to Detroit for whenever Nebraska could play over there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're a big Detroit guy.
Yeah.
You can go to the Michigan or the Michigan State games.
I know. I could still do that.
That's right. You can go see some action up in Ypsilanti.
Yes, I can.
It's Great time. You wouldn't survive a quarter in Ypsilanti. North Dakota State is, speaking of the SCS, will challenge that 2-year wait period for postseason eligibility. I'm excited. Like, I would think that they get their way on that. One or two more Bill. I just want to have one or two more Bill Moose related questions. Also, what is Jim Palan doing from yesterday? Did you see Jim Palan's tweet?
Yeah, I sent it to you.
You did. You did send it to me. It was a rhetorical question. Jim Palan apparently has a bone to pick with Dana Altman, and I've never met anyone who's hated Dana Altman before. It's very weird. I don't know what's going on, but we will mention that during the show today. The Big Ten puts out a press release and says no more prop bets. College basketball is going Catholic. They're going to it's the Pope. I mean, the Pope is putting a game together.
Wow.
To play in Rome next year. And it is involving his alma mater. And Iowa lawmakers are wooing the Chicago Bears to Iowa.
Love it.
So if the Gare Bears are dead, at least the Iowa lawmakers are there to say, come hang out with us in Iowa.
The Quad City Bears?
The Chicago Bears
Davenport
of
Bears.
Iowa.
I love the idea of putting the Chicago Bears in the Quad Cities.
Just throw them in Davenport.
Very, very excited to talk about this topic, if only for the Schaefer-Freud.
It would be phenomenal for Rock Island to have a professional football
I've been saying for a long time that the Quad Cities needed an NFL team.
Yeah.
And why not move the NFL's charter franchise there to show their respect to the Quad Cities?
100%.
I think it's a great idea. Give us a call. Send us a text, 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You can call or text that number. Tweet at Happer and Schaefer, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer, at Joe Warcola. On Twitter, email Connor, Mike, Joey, 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to the YouTube streamers today. Debo, as I was lamenting the fact that I was interested in putting shekels on Iowa State to win the national championship, that I should send them Houston's way. Oh yeah, Houston is high up on my radar. That's for sure. With their pedigree. Also, shout out to USA Women's Puck. Shout out Canada. Shut out Canada. Let's go.
Very big difference.
Don't shout out Canada.
You don't want to shout them out. You want to shut them up.
Shut out Canada. Wow, did we really? Let's go. Matt was all worried about it because they weren't playing very well or something like that. So we won. This is fantastic news. Excellent news. All right, we are off and running on a Wednesday. Thanks for being with us today. And
5-0.
Whoa, that is
they
shellacking.
They beat them up pretty big.
Nice, great job. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. Well, there's a lot of potential angles from Nebraska basketball in Purdue last night. Well, you could look at it from the Big Ten standings standpoint. If you're listening with this on the radio, you heard Unsportsmanlike Conduct's promo where John was talking about, hey, if Nebraska wins the game that happened last night, they're going to have a really good chance to win the Big Ten Conference. Michigan, of course, is at the top of it right now with their one loss. But remember, they still play Purdue on the road, Illinois on the road, Michigan State at home, and then no slouches, Iowa on the road and UCLA at home. All potentially losable games for them, who stand above the rest at 12-1 in the league right now. And then, updated from last night, you have this big traffic jam at 10-3/11-3 right now. Illinois lost last night in overtime at home to Wisconsin, who is on the trail right now, 9-4. Wisconsin's picked off some big wins in the league, and they're making their way back up the ladder. And Nebraska's dropped all the way down to 10-3 with Michigan State and Purdue at this moment. That was a gigantic win for Purdue. I thought,
the biggest takeaway that I have, out of the totality of this is that Purdue was very close to just being left out of the top four almost no matter what, because
Correct.
Their schedule coming up is still difficult and everything else there. And so they needed this more than Nebraska did. Nebraska needed it just to add another pelt to the wall, continue to give yourself the best chance to win the Big Ten and all of that. Purdue needed it to really pull themselves back into this picture here.
Yeah.
Entirely.
And I thought, and as we talked about yesterday, that was sort of my starting point for the game. I just thought it really needed to be desperation mode for Purdue. And boy, did they come out firing. I mean, Nebraska had been the team so many times this year, especially in those games, who really punched first and said, hey, look, we're in this thing and we're not going to be the overran team. Purdue attacked that thing to start. I thought Nebraska made some really, really questionable decisions early in the game.
It was a very uncharacteristic game for Nebraska. A lot of weird turnovers, a lot of ducking under screens or doing things that they wouldn't normally do defensively. I mean, when you're down 14-1 before the 16-minute mark, Nebraska used 3 timeouts in the first half. It was such a weird.
Well, that's what I was saying. I thought just in probably 2 out of their first 3 offensive possessions, they had opportunities to either get to the free throw line or get a bucket at the rim, and ditched it out to get a 3 instead. I thought
Berke
that was
had a layup that he just passed up to throw out.
I think it was against Smith potentially. It was a way smaller guy.
You expect him to make that, and he makes a nice pass, and it's an open 3-pointer, but you're passing up a layup to take the 3.
Or at the very least an opportunity to get a bucket or get to the free throw line. And so I thought that was, that set off this string of things, and obviously Purdue got really hot. Man, the ball was popping for them. And as I sort of talked about yesterday, I just felt like over the last almost handful of games now, Nebraska's lost they lost their teeth on defense, and they've been a little bit reactive to the things that happen in the game. Coaches will always say this, and it's a really difficult thing to accomplish, but I thought Nebraska had done it for the majority of the year. You cannot let your lack of offensive prowess, your lack of making shots, affect you on the defensive end, especially if you are going to hang your hat on the defensive end. Nebraska is clearly going to hang its hat on the defensive end. It's a top 10 defense in the country. And I just thought there's been way too many long stretches over the last handful of games now where they've let not making shots on offense affect their teeth on defense. And that was definitely the case last night.
See, and I would maybe slightly tweak that to not just not making shots on offense. I thought the extra possession, extra opportunities for Purdue, you could see Nebraska, it was killing them.
Obviously huge. Those, yeah.
In addition to obviously they retain the ball, but from the mental standpoint of having to stay and defend, the intensity wasn't always there on the second or third opportunity.
You think you've done it, right? You got a shot to get out of Purdue's hands, and then you don't rebound it. You don't finish off the possession.
I mean, here's the thing.
It's all in the same category, I think.
Here's the thing. I mean, Purdue started hot, and then it's similar to when we've talked about this. Like the big thing is Nebraska hasn't maintained that defense for the entirety of a game the way they were earlier in the season. Now you see it for 15-minute stretches
Spurts.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And they had another one of those last night, and that's what got them. I mean, they were down, 16 at the highest, I think?
I believe that. No, I might have been 20, Schaefer. Let me check it. Let me check.
I think it was about 20-ish.
Okay, so
in
they
the
were
second
down
half.
20, and they obviously closed that.
22.
Down 22, and they closed that to a tie game at the end of regulation with a chance to win it. And that doesn't happen without that defense. And also Purdue just went cold.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think they
if that
started
defense is there from the start, we're talking about a different game.
right. But like it what I'm saying is it showed up because they started to get some good things to going for them on offense. Yeah. I thought.
And they were able to finish possessions without Purdue being able to turn around and hold the ball for a minute.
Nebraska cannot be the kind of team where that comes and goes. And so they're buried in there is their margin for error a little bit. They cannot be the kind of team where, yes, obviously you're getting out offensive rebounded 21-6, which is just absurd. And I felt like they sort of deserved it.
I mean,
when Nebraska would miss a shot offensively, there wasn't nobody there, and when Purdue missed a shot offensively, they were sending Kaufman-Renn up and they were sending Clough up and they were gonna fight for that extra possession, and they won that battle for a reason because it looked like they intended to. But they cannot be the kind of team who obviously, yes, gives up that many extra possessions, but also is reactive to the things that are happening in the game. Nebraska has to be the guy in the ring who people look at and they say, yeah, it was this. I'm fighting this guy tonight, and then what? Like they got to be that guy right away. And they weren't last night. And with that being said, Schaefer, you dug yourself a pretty big hole and still sent the game to overtime in unbelievable fashion. There's a lot of different things we could pluck out of it, but I think that's the big picture. You start to see they aren't necessarily like warts, but it's a trend now for me that is a little bit like, they had been really, really consistent at that piece for a long time, and now they're less consistent at it.
Well, and then it raises, the sort of the big picture questions of can they beat teams like this? You've lost 3 out of your last 4 games, and in 3 of those games, you played teams that were ranked inside the top 15. You lost 2 of them by 3 points. Contextually, the 1 week where you lost both games couldn't have went worse for you off of the court. It doesn't matter. You have the opportunities to win these games on the court. They had an opportunity against Purdue. They had the opportunity against Michigan, and they were leading at half against Illinois. Like, those are 3 times where you played against teams that you're going to see if depending how far you can make a run in the tournament, or you're going to see again in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
So I think Nebraska absolutely can play with these teams. And frankly, I think Purdue out of the 3 of them is a very comparable, like, I think that's a 50-50 matchup, like every time. I don't know about Illinois and Michigan, but I felt like coming away from that, Purdue's ability to start each of the halves.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 14.
I don't know that I agree with that, Schaefer. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, they started 14-1 in the first half.
No. The start, yeah. I mean, obviously they got hot at the start, but I'm saying from a matchup perspective compared to those other teams, I think Purdue is a tough matchup for Nebraska just because they're trying. It appears as if they were trying to do very, very similar. That it's almost a mirror image of each other. I just think Purdue has better personnel. Like I just think they have better players. So
they still ended up shooting 53s last night, made 13 of them.
Yeah.
So they shot 38%. It's not like they overwhelmed Nebraska offensively.
Yeah, 13 for 46. So but I'm just saying, like, one-on-one, like you match them up 1 through 5. And like, I think, Smith is one of the better players in the country. Lawyer is a really tough guard. Kaufman-Renn knows exactly what he's out there to do, and that is like be a bully and grab rebounds. He had 19 of them last night. Nebraska doesn't have a guy like that.
Nope.
Like, and then Clough obviously holds his own down low, and he was dominant last night. He had 12 and 14. and 10 offensive rebounds,
And all of that is true, and Nebraska makes one more free throw in regulation.
Totally. Yeah. But I just thought it was and they're trying to do the same, they're skipping the ball around on offense. Like, we saw that a little bit in the second half from Illinois when they started to pull away from Nebraska. That part of it looked really good. Obviously, Michigan could be that kind of team as well. But I just thought, like, if you want a comp, Purdue is probably the good comp. I just think they're a little bit better.
Yeah.
With that being said, yeah, it was overtime. I'm not trying to say anything, but you mentioned that they were or something. What did you say about Purdue? That they were
basically set up those three teams are the ones that Nebraska is probably the closest 50-50.
There you go. Yeah, so I guess that's kind of what I was saying too.
So yeah, I felt like, if Nebraska doesn't start down in a 14-1 hole, if they don't start the second half giving up what is it? 5 of Purdue's 13 3-pointers came in 2 of their first 3 possessions of the game, the first 2 possessions of the second half, and the first possession of overtime. So that's 15 points, like right as you're starting each of those things. I mean, they avalanched Nebraska right at the start of all of those. They end up winning the game by 3. They just came out, and that's what Nebraska had been doing to teams. Like Nebraska traditionally has been the team that jumps out right away. The last night's one of the first times I can think of where it was like, oh, I've seen this movie before, where they have 1 point at the under 16, or whatever it was. Maybe it was 3. But so it's unusual to see a team sort of be able to do that to them. I think once the game kind of settled in more, Purdue really struggled to find baskets. They also, it was weird that Clough sat for like the entirety of the last 8 minutes of the second half. Like, he only had 3 fouls.
It was weird. I don't know. Like,
I thought Purdue's rotations was odd. They also felt like they stopped going inside in the second half.
I just felt like they kind of let off the gas a little bit. Like, they obviously, when you're up 20, you probably feel like you've won. Or when you're up 10 with 3 minutes left or less than 3 minutes, you're probably all right, they're gonna lay down in front of us and they're gonna die.
With 2 minutes left. Like, they just, Nebraska made plays at the end that they weren't making earlier in the game. But at the same time, I mean, it felt like Purdue had the opportunity to go inside in the first half. And then I don't know, I'm not smart enough just standing there in the arena to see exactly what Nebraska's doing defensively to take that away. But
they went to a couple different looks. It looked like
it must have worked because they stopped playing Clough entirely. Yeah. I mean, and he was, really, really good yesterday. Really, really annoying and really, really good.
Yeah. Maybe we should play Mike Schaefer's opposing players' annoyance levels.
Oh, it's not higher than Smith. It's not.
That'd be good.
Out of each of these games, you have come away with oh, I hate this guy actually.
Michigan, there really wasn't. Michigan, it was just like they didn't seem like they cared in that game. Illinois, I didn't like Wagler coming in from the first game because he flops a ton. And it's easily the biggest thing that I dislike about basketball.
Clearly,
is the rewarding of guys who do the head throws, throw themselves on the floor, barely get touched and fall over. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It's the Anthony Davisification of basketball. And I don't like seeing it rewarded. And to be fair, the officials didn't reward it, but it didn't stop Smith from acting like he got absolutely nailed in the face when he turned around and ran into Rink Mast and fell over. I mean, they were rewarded.
He did get hit in the face, but he didn't. It wasn't on purpose,
right?
Obviously,
but he also acted like he was absolutely jacked in the face when he took maybe a chest. Now, perhaps Rink Mast is made of stone.
He is. He's very tall and sweaty.
Yeah. If he was so sweaty, wouldn't he have just slipped right off?
I bet you may be, yeah.
I mean, there was multiple times, though, where Smith made it a point to fall on the floor for absolutely no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Again, very good player, very high energy player. He's like this weird combination of Aaron Kraft and Brad Davison, which is not a super high compliment.
I was going to say, damn, that's messed up, dude.
Opposing
he is
player.
Way more athletic than that.
He's a way better shooter than those guys. So he wasn't last night. We went 5 for 15. He started hot, and then he was pretty bad for shooting. Now, his ability to set up that offense, his ability to play on-ball defense, really, really good.
Yeah,
just get rid of the flopping, and I don't complain about
the little things that he does is pretty they're pretty special. I mean, he just whether it's a little fakey moves with his head or his shoulders or something like that. He could get guys going in the wrong direction. He's pretty athletic too. Like that's why I don't think
this
Kraft
isn't like
comp is very good. But
this isn't trying to say he's not good at basketball.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Keaton Wagler. You're good. Don't do all the extra stuff that's BS.
Yeah.
And I
sometimes
wouldn't
that's
be
part of-
complaining about it.
that's a part of those guys' game, I think.
Yeah, that's a part of basketball that sucks.
Let's see. Josh from Omaha. Can we mention the sketchy sweat on the floor? Well, we could talk about that. Yes.
Yeah,
we could talk about sweat.
It's hard to know.
People are calling it Watergate, I've heard. Which is pretty funny. The original gate.
The only gate that we really needed. We didn't need the subsequent
We didn't put anything else on the gates. From the 402, Mike, are we seeing a pumpkin emerging?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. That would be a vast overreaction to that game in particular. And then from the 515, yes, Connor, but Purdue had been struggling. Nebraska served as their get well game. I don't know that it was that. I don't think that it was that.
There was definitely some takes last night that were just like,
yeah, you're starting to hear a little bit louder of like, I don't actually believe in this team, which is so weird. I don't really get that.
Absolutely don't believe in them. Just don't watch them. Don't pay attention. Go do whatever you're going to do the rest of the winter.
They have warts just like everybody else does, but
Iowa State just lost to
TCU. Yeah.
Illinois just lost to Wisconsin. What did we see over the weekend? Michigan State beat Illinois. Duke, which is a really, really good basketball team, lost to North Carolina that lost to Miami. Welcome to college basketball. Like, there's a level of this where there's people that are paying attention to college basketball in a way that maybe they haven't had to or earlier than this is what happens.
Interesting point.
Teams beat other teams night in and night out. That's why you don't see a bunch of teams that are, 32-1.
There is some stuff
29-3.
There is some stuff in there where like you're what I think it's a good thing because we now have a better understanding of what their holes are over the last couple of weeks. Like you have a better sort of feel. I mean, like I think they pretty clearly belong, as we've talked about all year in this. I mean, we'll talk about it in rankings with tiers a little bit later on, but like a top, 10, 15, top 2 tiers of college basketball or something like that. However, like their problem, their defect is they're not particularly athletic,
right.
And because of that, in part, they can't really rebound consistently, which is now they make up for it in a lot of other ways. They don't turn the basketball over; they get turnovers a lot.
Last night they had a lot of dumb turnovers.
Right,
like, that was such.
So when you play like that,
you want to talk about what was brutal in a 3-point loss. How many times did they just have a possession where it's a guy passes to somebody else and it goes out of bounds. Or at the I don't know if it was overtime or the end of regulation, Frager gets a rebound, goes to pass it to somebody. A Purdue guy running the other way just kind of throws his hand out.
Yep.
And he's able to just like tip it. And then Frager goes and tries to save it for some reason. And then is out of bounds. Like, it was bizarre. They had a lot of moments like that. And that was the same with the Illinois game, where you can see the pressure of the other team being as good as they are has gotten to Nebraska. They have been a lot more flappable than they were in the first 20 games of the season.
A little bit sped up. A few things that were forced, especially when things really weren't going well. I mean, at one point I looked, you had shot, we'll take a break after this. You had shot, I don't know, it was 12 or 13 threes. I think it was 12. I think there were 3 or 4 of 12 from 3. And 2 of them were by Jared Garcia and 2 of them were by Berke Buchtengel. And I thought that is not a good thing. That is not what you want. So we could talk plenty more about Nebraska basketball and what lies ahead for them as we go on throughout the show today. And we want to hear from you all. 402-951-1620. Good morning. It's 6:40. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. Whoa, check this out. Just announced the Black Keys are headed to Omaha with the Peaches and Cream Tour with Eddie 9V on 89V. Monday, July 20th at the Astro. Presale tickets are on sale tomorrow at 10 with password ZONE. And tickets go on sale to the general public on Friday at 10 through Ticketmaster. More details online at 1620thezone.com.
Have you been to the Astro?
The Astro is the old Sokol, right? No.
No, the Astro is out in Papillion.
The Astro is
it's
the
a
Papillion
new
one.
venue that was built out in Papillion.
Nope.
Oh, I think it's down like right on 84th, I think, just south of
Could be
Giles.
I don't know the
It's
exact
in
location.
that little.
It's a cool venue, though.
I have not Astroed
So
myself.
I was supposed to go to what would have been an outdoor show there, but then it rained, and so they moved everything inside. They have that ability to do it, and it was fantastic.
I'm excited to go inside the Steelhouse for the first time.
I've never been to the Steelhouse either.
It's
the
a
Jet
nice
Award.
Yeah,
It's a nice venue.
Excellent.
That's what I hear.
Let's talk to some nice people on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Here is Scott this morning. Hey, Scott, what's up?
Nice people.
Yeah.
Well, that's an over-exaggeration.
Well, I believe in
Gentlemen,
you.
thanks
Hopefully
for
you're
taking my
nice.
call.
Yeah, of course.
I think this basketball game Nebraska just went through, obviously, they gave up way too many offensive rebounds, too many points in the paint, and it just boiled down to they had a horrible time defending the A-hole.
In the B-hole, probably, as well. I think that's right, Scott. I think that's exactly correct. What do you think?
I think they didn't defend the A-hole, the B-hole, the C-hole, and they took it in the ear hole from Oscar.
It's like a fullback running through the A-hole or the B-hole.
Gap! Did you see Kent last night? He was wearing a jersey.
No, I didn't.
He was also wearing a headband.
In a headband. They were
I'm
doing
not gonna
Sam
lie.
Hoiberg headband night last night.
When Nebraska was the two missed free throws, they have the rebound. There's like the 20 seconds or whatever left. And I'm thinking to myself, like, Kent is just going through the ringer on this right now. You already had the Michigan game. You've had Michigan State, Illinois on the road.
Like this game was this season is already the most special season of all time in Nebraska basketball history. But that crossed my mind last night at probably about that same time. Like, if they actually do this, if they pull this off,
they should have.
This is a new level of absurdity.
I was thinking that, and then obviously Mass missed a free throw, and I'm like, and now he's got to gear up for the call of Braden Smith's jumper that's coming right here.
Yeah.
And then he clanged that. And it's like,
game.
okay, overtime, anybody's game now.
Mm-hmm.
And overtime went, it started where it's like, oh, is Purdue just going to
5-0 run, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Nebraska turns it around. They get their first lead of the entire game, came in overtime. They almost pulled a Michigan. Had Rink Mass made that free throw and they get the stop, they would have led for a total of like 11 seconds in the entire game and won. So just a wild contest all the way through.
Let me see if I could pull up the Ken Pump stuff real quick so people could see it on YouTube if you're watching along with us this morning, which, by the way, we appreciate it. Here is the win probability from last night. As you can see, it's a bit of a roller coaster. There's that 10-0 run that Nebraska is on an 18-2 run, a separate 10-0 run, a 15-1 run. There's a 10-0 run by Purdue to get it back up. So the runs in the top were the Purdue runs, and the runs at the bottom were the Nebraska runs. Nebraska got their win probability all the way above 75% late in overtime before it drastically shifted the other way. And Oscar Clough went to the free throw line. Well, got an and one, which was not an and one.
Yeah, that was annoying.
I don't even know if it was a foul. The other one, if we're in officiating corner, which we can be for like the next 5 minutes, the one where Frager just stole it, it should have been there should have been no whistle at all.
Yeah, and they called a foul. Yeah,
it should have been at the very least a jump ball. I thought it should have just been a no call whistle, like just he stole the ball. Which
they were pretty bad in every direction.
I thought the one on Mast against Mast,
his fifth foul.
Yes, that one. But I was thinking when he was the player who was fouled on the late one, the and one, the crazy one.
Yeah, that too.
I don't even think he got fouled.
Right.
I think he really
That's what
got
I heard
touched.
from people watching.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it was just like there was all sorts of those throughout the game. There's one where Clough has Mass like just pretzeled up.
Oh yeah,
And
one of
Mass
the
got
in
called
between
for the
arm
foul.
things. Yeah.
You had there was one where Nebraska. Well, there's the out of bounds on Purdue where Mass just hacks the hell out of the Purdue player.
Yeah,
And like initially, Painter's asking for a tip, and then you can see he looks back at the bench. And they're like, not a tip. And they're like, and then he goes from this motion to that. Like,
unfortunately, you can't challenge that.
No. And the official basically comes over and says that. And then immediately there's a call that sends the ball back the other way.
There was probably a handful more if we dive further into officiating corner.
I mean, Nebraska, like, this is the first time the only time out of their 3 losses where they had the free throw advantage. They shot free throws terribly in the game. I think
that's
Mass
underrated
front
big
end.
part, Schaefer.
Yeah, not even underrated. Like well, certainly not when you think about it in just this one context. You had a chance to take the lead with 11 seconds to go, and you missed the and one. Mass missed the front end of a 1-and-1. Bearcay missed multiple free throws. Sam missed a free throw. I mean, I don't know what their total was.
13 to 20.
Yeah, I mean,
which is better than Purdue, by the way.
Right, and Purdue missed a bunch. Like it was
11 to 20.
It was not an aesthetically gorgeous game in terms of like great basketball plays at the end of it, but they had their opportunity. Like they didn't get stolen from them. You wish that you could have seen what the final play looks like instead of
I know that was the big like that's why you sort of left a little bit deflated. I mean, obviously they lost the game, so it's like, oh, we got to deal with this now. But mostly it was like, I just want to see what they do after Lawrence catches. And
do you think they set something up, or does he go to the rim?
Well, what was it? 3.5?
It was 4.1.
4.1. I mean, you got plenty of time. Hoiberg said after the game, he goes 4 seconds. We got 4 dribbles. Like, I think he probably just barrels down and tries to draw a foul, or maybe gets a driving kick or something.
And he has the ability to try to pull off like a quick jumper there or a floater or something like that.
Yeah.
I wanted the ball to go to Frager.
Ooh.
Because I felt like he had the best opportunity to get the contact and a foul. Like, I don't know that Lawrence is going to get the call.
It's crazy that he slipped. I mean, you never really see that. you never.
I mean, it wouldn't be a Nebraska sporting event if you weren't saying while you left it, never seen that way to lose before.
Yeah, it was so odd. I mean, you see guys slip on the floor sometimes.
Sure. Well, and immediately right after a timeout
at
where
that crucial moment,
the guy who's sweeping the floor was in that area. It wasn't like he,
So somebody, I saw the video, one of the videos from our local television reporters where Sam came over right away and he also slipped. Now that was possibly because Jamarcus was already slipped and his sweat was on the floor, and then got him up. And then Hoiberg kind of looked back. He's like, "What the heck is going on?" So I don't know what that was.
Bad luck.
I think it's just a really bad stroke of luck at the wrong time.
Again, if anything was ever going to describe Nebraska basketball, that would work.
Yeah.
I mean, that would really work. But you didn't have to be in that point if you made free throws earlier in the game.
Even in the dream season of all dream seasons, a stroke of bad luck still hits you in a top 15 home game, which is, it makes you believe you're human after all, which Nebraska most certainly is. We'll have plenty of more conversation about this game and then our college basketball power rankings with tiers. In fact, we'll do that at 7:30. I assume Schaefer and I will have varying opinions on a lot of these teams that we end up talking about. So I'm excited.
I don't know.
I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about it with you. Sam McEwen, Lauren Michelson still coming up on the show today. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. Happer and Schaefer. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer. That's why it's called that. Here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Joey Colbert with you as well this morning. We'll have plenty more on Nebraska basketball as we go on throughout the show. And also, we'll have our college basketball power rankings with tiers coming up in about 15 or 20 minutes. So stay tuned for that. I'm excited to talk about big picture college basketball with our dear friend Mike Schaefer. But I had this topic left over from yesterday, and I knew, well, I was excited because I designed it specifically for Mike Schaefer's brain.
Yeah.
It's an NFL topic, so it's give us like 15 minutes here. So we're going to do
only 15
quarterback Super Bowl forecast.
Okay.
So this idea was birthed from when, for example, Drake May goes to the Super Bowl. He performs horrifically in the Super Bowl, but he is viewed to be at the very beginning of a long and prosperous career. And people will say, don't worry, Drake May will be back in the Super Bowl. I have no concerns about Drake May in his career. And what most normal people would say, especially fans of NFL teams, I don't know, maybe you're a fan of the Minnesota Vikings or something like that, is there's no guarantee you will ever get there again. And so with that in mind, our quarterback Super Bowl forecast. I have three categories. I'm going to name a lot of quarterbacks.
Okay.
And we're going to put them in one of three buckets.
Okay.
0 more Super Bowls.
Okay.
This is Super Bowl appearances.
Yes.
0 more Super Bowls, 1 to 2 more Super Bowls, or 3+.
Okay. The 1 to 2 is huge because the difference of reaching and getting there twice. Because the amount of really good quarterbacks.
2, you got to be really good.
The amount of really good, you have to be really good, but you have to have luck go in your favor.
Mhm.
Joey, cover your ears. The Packers, Rodgers only made 1 Super Bowl.
I know.
And
This is what makes this game so hard.
He's
Crazy.
the quarterback of the 2010s, right? You'd be like, oh, this guy was the best at his position.
Yep.
He only made 1 Super Bowl. 45 NFC championship games in which he failed spectacularly to get them to a Super Bowl.
Now, last decade, it was, mostly gobbled up by Brady.
Sure.
And mostly gobbled up by, or Manning or whatever at the beginning, Roethlisberger, or, whatever it might be. So there was guys who made multiple Super Bowls, and then that left no Super Bowls for anybody else.
Well, it's like in the NFC, very few guys until Jalen Hurts had been making multiple Super Bowls. It's just one off.
Mhm.
In the AFC, it's there's these 3 guys. If you're not one of the 3 guys, your name must be Joe Burrow.
So
and then there's a 4th guy, and he came along as Patrick Mahomes.
So let's start with him.
Okay.
Let's start with him.
So we're
already
nothing he's done counts.
Correct.
Okay.
Except for your brain and projecting forward.
I love this game.
He's already been to 3.
Yes.
How many more will Patrick Mahomes end up
He's
in?
been to more than 3.
He's been to 5?
5
to
Super
5.
Bowls?
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 Super Bowls.
They
He's
lost 2,
3-2.
they won 3. They beat the Eagles, they beat the 49ers twice, and they lost to the Bucks, and they lost to the Eagles.
Crazy. 5
Yeah.
Super Bowls are
Ridiculous.
Insane.
How many? I apologize, Patrick
No,
Mahomes.
you don't apologize to Patrick Mahomes.
No disrespect to Patrick Mahomes. But that is not the game. How many more will he have, Patrick Mahomes?
I'm putting him in the 1 to 2 bucket.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
The team context is changing quite a bit.
Patrick is 30.
We don't know what he's going to be like when he
September.
comes back from the injury. Will he still be as effective as a runner?
Mm-hmm.
Will they open things up offensively? Are they going to look like a different team?
Ultimately, it's a good enough organization to where I'm like, yeah, they'll find out some sort of way to make it work.
He's a good
it.
enough. And there's also
Yeah.
this, maybe he does it not as a Chief.
Maybe he does it not as a Chief.
Peyton Manning was a Colt for life until he wasn't.
Uh-huh.
So
Till his
Tom
neck
Brady was a
almost fell
Patriot
off.
for life until he wasn't.
True. That's true. So maybe are you saying that there's going to be a Brady run of Mahomes' career
No,
at the end? He
Don't
just
get your
I'm
hopes
just
up,
saying-
he
Mike.
ends up on the Panthers.
I'm putting 1 to 2 because I think their run is current run is done. But I'm not willing to rule out that Mahomes couldn't get there later in his career or with someone else.
Okay. Let's stay in his division. Bo Nix.
1 to 2. I think the Broncos are going to be very good.
I'm going to say 0 on Bo Nix.
Yeah, that's fine.
0 Bo Nix Super Bowls. Justin Hebert.
This is so hard. Because
It is because if
so
you
much
start
could
answering,
happen.
if you start answering that all these guys are going to go to Super Bowls, there's only so many Super Bowls to
Sure.
go around.
But if there's, let's say, 15 Super Bowls, like you're thinking out the next 15
Like
years.
these
But then
individual
there's new quarterbacks that are going to be coming in.
and they will take some Super Bowls.
I'm going to say 0 on this one.
0
Mostly
Justin
because
Herbert
there's
Super
a
Bowls.
chance he ends up with the Minnesota Vikings and then, of course, will not get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think he's.
I love it.
I don't. Where do you stand on the Justin Herbert? Is he overrated or underrated?
Like he's properly rated. I think he's a top 10 quarterback. I think he's really good, and I think he's just not as good as some of the other ones.
He's on a dumb team.
Yeah, but if they get it right, they could make their way. I'm gonna give him a Super Bowl. I'll give him a 1 to 2 Super Bowl range. And then we don't need to talk about any.
Francisco, or do you want to talk about Mendoza? Do you just want to put him on there?
We could put Fernando Mendoza on there. Fernando Mendoza.
0.
Wow. Not 3+.
I don't
He
know
won't
how
just
good of a
win forever.
quarterback he's going to be. I don't love that he's starting his career with the Raiders.
Yeah, that's not a good
So
sign.
it's just easier to say 0 than it is 1 to 2.
It probably is at this stage of the game. All right, let's go to Drake May. So this is the man of which this topic was born from. Drake May. How many more Super Bowls for Drake May?
I'm going to say 1 to 2 because I think the Patriots are set up. They're very young.
Yeah.
They have a great coach. They have a division that never has more than one other quality team in it at any point in time.
Would it shock you though if they end up like 9-8 next year?
No,
with a first place schedule.
but he's 23 and they have so much young talent that I think that they could make a run at another point.
I ultimately agree. Like
it's more the 1 than the 2 for me. I want to be clear. Like that's why the 1 and 2 is.
I'll give them one
like
more.
if you're saying someone's going to make it 2 more times, you're effectively saying the team that
All
he's
right,
on.
should we change the game and say 0, 1,
No.
or then 2+?
I don't want to because otherwise you're going to be at 0 for Bo Nix and I'm going to be at 2+. And it's going to be the weirdest split in show history.
Yeah, on one of these guys, somebody's gonna say 0 and somebody's gonna say like 100. Will Josh Allen?
Yeah,
Finally,
I'll put him in the 1 to 2.
he has
He'll
to
get there.
he has to get there.
Whether it's with the Bills or somebody else.
Yeah, he has to get there. And then we don't have to do any of the other people in that division.
You're welcome to. I would rather we get to
Oh,
say
you wanna
their
do
names and then put 0.
You want to do Tua?
They don't have quarterbacks really, so yeah.
Well, Tua doesn't even play for them anymore, does he?
He
didn't
hasn't been
even
cut
start
yet, right?
I thought he signed for another team already.
I didn't
No,
see
he
anything.
can't sign yet. They haven't started free agency. They haven't even cut him, have they?
I don't think they did. They
No,
they
probably
just
not.
They have
benched
to
him for
cut
the
or
last
trade him.
month
So
of the season.
The
So
first
you can say
story-
Quinn
Sam
Ewers if
Ellinger.
you'd rather say Quinn Ewers.
The first story that pops up for Tua is Dolphins Cardinals face challenges in Tua Tagovailoa Kyler Murray trades. Yeah,
They should trade
I'd
him for each
imagine
other.
so.
That'd be a typical Arizona Miami trade.
That would be
That'd be great.
Who's the Jets quarterback? Justin Fields? Does he get to
Justin
any-
Fields,
Tyrod
or,
Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, Tyra. Both.
I'm going to say
0.
0 for both of
Say
those.
0 on both.
They can't
Aaron
throw.
Rodgers. Does he have one more
0.
Super Bowl? All
No.
right. Lamar Jackson. Does he have a Super Bowl?
I'm going to say 0.
Wow. Wow. The Lamar Jackson stan of the
I like
show.
Lamar Jackson.
You don't love Lamar Jackson.
No, I like Lamar Jackson. I just don't know what the next iteration of his career looks like.
Lamar gets to a Super Bowl.
Okay.
Lamar
I
gets
want
to
him
a Super Bowl.
To be clear, I just don't know
I just
what
wa-
the
I-
offense looks like with the Ravens.
I want to
don't know.
believe in happy endings. I want to believe that all of these quarterbacks who were denied Super Bowls because Mahomes took them all eventually get there one day.
Phil Rivers never made one.
No.
Like,
No, that's amazing. Phil Rivers is going to be a Hall of Famer. He
Yeah.
didn't make a Super Bowl.
right. So
And he was good like the entire time. Like his teams were good the entire time. It's
yeah,
absurd.
no, look. That's why like guys like that exist. And my fear with Lamar is I think there's a certain style of offense in which he's going to be most effective, and I'm not entirely sure what the new regime of the Ravens will do.
Joe Burrow.
This is a tough one.
He's getting one more.
Is Joe
I
Burrow
think
going to
he's gonna end up
retire
On
before
a different team and get them to the Super Bowl. And it's probably going to be an NFC team.
the Bengals are just going to say, I want out of this cap hell? And
Or he's just going to Carson Palmer it and just sit out.
I mean, there has been
Carson Palmer got to the Super Bowl, so will Joe Burrow.
There has been very, very weird retirement rumors with him, like early retirement rumors.
Similar to the Andrew Luck deal.
Yeah, I mean, he's been hurt his entire career.
Behind a horrible offensive line in the worst organization in football.
But he is ultimately one of those players who elevates you as a franchise. So, I mean, I think you have to probably keep him off the 0 line.
If you're the Bengals, is it offensive to you that you're regarded as the worst organization per players in football when things like the Jets, the Raiders, the Browns all exist?
Yeah.
Also, why does the AFC have like the biggest swing of, you have all these amazing quarterbacks, but then you have these horrendous like I can't think of a similar in the NFC.
The Bengals finished last in the what is it? The survey every year, is that what you're saying?
What's the closest equivalent to the Raiders in the NFC?
Who are the NFC Raiders?
Because like you could say the Bears or the Panthers. Well, they just made the playoffs.
The Giants.
The Giants have won 2 Super Bowls in the last,
I would say the Cardinals.
20 years.
The
Cardinals are probably the close, but they're at least
they got a
adequate.
decent quarterback, but they just been inconsistent since
and they're in the Cardinals. The Cardinals fair. I like that, Joey. I like that.
There is, it's tough comp. The NFC Raiders.
It's just weird.
Shador Sanders
0.
I agree. Trevor Lawrence 0.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 0.
Unfortunately, 0. I liked them this year, but 0.
I'm gonna say 0 because I don't want the city of Jacksonville to make the Super Bowl.
CJ Stroud
0.
Yeah.
No way.
Joey weighing in immediately.
I'm holding out hope for him. I don't think ultimately I could put him in the more than 0 category, but if
Lamar is a 0 and Lawrence is a 0, Stroud.
But what if he goes to a different team, that a non-defensive focused team, and then like finds himself again? I feel
decision making is the problem.
His rookie year was pretty damn good.
Yeah, no.
And then all of a sudden,
I think teams figured out how
coach,
to defend him, and I don't know that he's raised his game since then.
Yeah, that's the problem.
So I think it's between the ears more than it is the headset.
Who do we put as the representative quarterback of the Colts?
Probably Daniel Jones for now.
Okay, Daniel Jones
0.
Yep, agreed. Cam Ward
0.
Oh, why not? A little bit Cam Ward action.
Titans. They've made 1 Super Bowl in their.
What if he's not a Titan?
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't think Cam Ward's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
All right, to the National Football Conference, Jalen Hurts 0 more. I'm gonna say 0 more.
I want you to be right. I'm afraid you're not going to be. I'm going to say the Eagles make it one more time.
Dak Prescott
0.
Man, I thought I could get you on that one.
0.
Jaden Daniels
0. I don't know that he's going to be the starting
quarterback
in
it's
5 years.
Very odd.
Yeah.
He had an incredible rookie year, and then obviously
Jackson Dart 0.
Jackson Dart 0. Caleb Williams
0.
Is he the possible first guy that we could put in the more than 1 category?
This is tough because I think I'm just going to answer 0 for every NFC team now that I think about it.
Caleb Williams is going to get to a Super Bowl. It might not be with the Bears. I don't know. Caleb Williams is going to get to a Super Bowl.
Okay, I can accept that.
Yeah.
I can. If partly because I have to have some in the NFC that make the Super Bowl.
Jordan Love
0.
Depends on the special teams.
It's 0.
Jordan Love could do it.
He's a great quarterback.
I'm not as confident as I am with Caleb, but
he's a 0 in the way that like people would have said Sam Darnold is a 0 because you'd have to have everything go right for him to be.
Yeah, I think that's right. But the Packers are one of those organizations that have usually figured a way to do that.
They went once with Aaron Rodgers, and you're going to say Jordan Love is going to reach the same amount of time?
But they're always good. Like they're good every year.
Are they?
They're always contending, but once it's postseason, they'll find a way to choke the game away.
All right. So even
Joey's making my argument.
They had 3 number 1 seed opportunities after their Super Bowl run with Aaron Rodgers, and they found a way to lose.
You're ready to say it. I can see it in your face. Do it.
9.
0.
I was also going to say Max Brosmer.
0.
Kirk Cousins
0.
Jared Goff.
This one's interesting because I think the Lions are kind of on their way down.
I know. Yeah, their window may have closed.
But
quickly.
if you would have asked this like 2 years ago, you'd say maybe he might be the first one here. You'd be like, more than two? I'm going to say he's been there once, which people forget because the game was so bad.
How old is Jared Goff now?
He's like,
I think 32.
30.
He's 31.
Okay.
He'll be 32 midway through the season next
I'm going to
year.
say 1 to 2.
I think with a different team.
Because I think, like Joey just said there, he could end up being the guy on a team that's just everything around him just works.
Yeah.
In the similar way that it would have happened with the Lions, but just I don't know that it's going to be with this version of the Lions.
One more Jared Goff Super Bowl or
Yeah.
one Jared Goff Super Bowl. Well, yeah, I guess it would be one more, but in a very different setting that it is right now for him. Interesting. Yeah, I could get along with that. Bryce Young.
0.
That quick?
I mean,
It's a little Bryce Young.
If you were just ranking out guys most likely to not have their job by the middle of next season,
No, he's
Bryce
not on
Young
that.
would be
No,
on that list.
No, he's not on that list.
Yes, he is.
He is not on that list. He was good.
He's been playing better
Yeah.
since the second half of
He was
2024
good
year.
this year. He was good.
He was not good.
I mean, he was making some throws, man. In some of those games late, especially the divisional games against obviously bad teams.
I would honestly.
I don't know. Like the Panthers could be a young up and coming team.
That's what I thought of them after the 2024 season when they lost some of their close games against the contenders. I think he's playing better football.
0.
Give me
I
one
think
Bryce Young Super Bowl.
He's playing better football than CJ Stroud, in my opinion.
Baker Mayfield.
Wow. I'll go 1 to 2 here, and it's a heavy on the 1.
I think we're in the 0 range with this.
No way.
We're on the
Could
come
be.
down there. Michael Penix.
0.
Correct. Tyler Shuck.
I'm like
You did a Tyler Shuck Super
I'm
Bowl?
like half tempted to say 1.
He was
Because
awesome.
he was way better than I thought he would be.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's because I think the Saints are in position to do anything. Though it wouldn't surprise me if they won that division next year.
No, it wouldn't.
I'm gonna say 1 to 2.
One Tyler Shuck
Yeah,
Super Bowl.
I'm gonna do it.
Unbelievable. I'll say 0 still. Because the chances are he's not going to be in this group of names if we do the same thing again next year. Even though he was good last year. Sam Darnold,
What's the highest category?
3+.
I think the Seahawks are making runs.
Wow.
I think they get one more in.
I'm going to say 0.
I'm
but-
between the like the one. It's like between 2 or 3 appearances.
Yeah, so this is the biggest. This
I
will be
think
the
the
biggest spread.
NFC. Like if you look around the NFC,
It's not even particularly an anti-Darnold thing. I just don't think they're going to be like the. I don't think they're going to go on this dynasty. You know.
Yeah.
I don't feel.
I'll
that.
say more than 2, though. I really think it's 2.
This feels more like a one-off Super Bowl to me than anything. You know what just happened.
I don't know, man. They got a young defense, and they've got
I mean,
Jackson Smith-Njigba, and I think he's just good enough to not shipwreck him. I mean, I think this is what the Detroit Lions are of what people thought the Lions were, and the Seahawks went and actually did it.
Yeah.
And he's younger. Like he's what, 27? I mean, Darnold's not that old.
he is 28.
Yeah.
Will be 29 this summer.
So
29.
I should probably say 1 to 2, but I'll say more than that. I think the Seahawks are going to be in there a lot from the NFC.
So there you go. There's our biggest difference. Shocking. It's about Sam Darnold.
And it's funny because I think we're both kind of like you're not about Darnold for why, and I'm like I think the infrastructure of that team is that good.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Let me. Well, we'll just go in order. Matt Stafford.
0.
Agreed. Sadly. And Brock Turdy.
I'll say 1 to 2, even though I don't believe in him.
So it's an infrastructure thing, right?
Yep.
Okay. I could get along with that. And then
0.
Kyler Murray is our last quarterback.
Call of
Correct.
Duty joke. 0.
Yeah, I'd like there will be something else going on in Arizona next year. It will not
Wow.
be
Seems that
Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray will be I made the case for Kyler Murray middle of the way through last year, or like right when he got hurt, that he's going to be somebody's really, really fun and chaotic backup, you know, and then he could do that for a long time.
I think that he could be an interesting quarterback for a lot of different teams, and I just don't think that it goes to the Super Bowl.
Like I don't know how much they think they're going to get for him. Hopefully they don't have their expectations too high.
Like,
But
if-
what if the Chiefs were like, hey, put him in and have him be Patrick Mahomes sit-in for the first 6 weeks of the season while he comes back? That's an interesting perspective.
So much money spent on the quarterback.
But
position.
but how much money would it take? That'd be my question.
Well, I mean, he's not a free agent,
Right.
So it's you're trading for $150 million contract,
yeah, which
or whatever it is.
I don't know how much time it has left on
Right. No, so his name comes up with the Vikings because obviously they are looking for a quarterback because they have 9.
And by the way, they're going to have to buy out most of it.
I don't know how it works in the NFL because they could void some of the money and take on the dead cap hit, but I don't know what that means for the team that assumes the rest of the contract.
It still has there's a team option for 28. So it's, dear God.
Can we just press decline?
Yes. So he has 2 years left.
Yeah. So I would like if he went to Minnesota, I could see them being a playoff team with Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
I just don't know that they're like he transcends beyond just being good enough to help a team get to the playoffs.
No.
I think he's
But he can hold
really
the fort
solid.
down for a little while.
You know, like where I would love to see him is you put him with the Falcons. I'd be fascinated by that offense. Drake London, Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts all of a sudden is good.
Yeah, like you put Kyler Murray in there, and I'd be really interested because that's not a great division. Like they could go win 11, 12 games.
Yep.
But I don't think that they'd make a run in the playoffs.
All right, there you go. That's our quarterback.
We should have
future
kept track
forecast
because we
need
the
to write
math
these
on
down.
how that would have worked.
I
would
don't.
be
There'd been
fascinating.
a lot of Super Bowls.
Part of
probably.
why I said multiple for Darnold is like at some point, like someone from the NFL, I kept saying 0 to everybody else.
That's true. Yeah. We actually write these down and see how dumb they look after next year or something.
We could
like that.
revisit this in the summer and then actually write it down at that.
Okay. All right. Let's
Because then we'll
remind
know who the
ourselves of that.
quarterbacks are going to be for teams.
All right. Or maybe you and Matt could do it at the College World Series or something like that. He
Sounds like a great idea.
is a great Matt topic.
We'll get through 3 quarterbacks before we have to take a break.
We're back after this with our college basketball power rankings with tiers on 1620 The Zone. Welcome back. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Kilber with you this morning. 7:30 on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. If you enter online at 1620thezone.com right now for this contest, there is a chance that you're going to be very, very happy. Girl Scout cookies for a year, brought to you by Girl Scout Spirit of Nebraska, running now through March 15th. Of course, the cookie booths will start. You'll start seeing them on Friday. Get your orders in, or you could, of course, enter online on our website, 1620thezone.com, for your chance to win a year supply of Girl Scout cookies. Could you imagine how popular you would be with a year supply of Girl Scout cookies? That would be absurd.
It would be a great thing to just invite people over and be like, you want a lemonade? You want a caramel delight? You want a peanut butter patty?
Because you can't share those with people for the majority of the time. But if you have a year supply, you would feel great about sharing a little bit.
Those are not cookies. Like, you
It'd be like
pay
if you
enough
won the
money.
lottery.
If you buy the Girl Scout cookies yourself, you're hoarding them.
It's 100% correct.
And
you're rationing them, like you're trying to make them last longer.
Make them last until the next season.
It's very, very, very
really
good opportunity for you all.
When do they actually go on? Now I've
Friday, apparently.
Okay, I need to buy some Girl Scout cookies.
You do. I always wait for them to just kind of show up in front of me,
Well, that's
and then
what
I buy
want
them.
too. And then I feel like the only time I actually see them is going in and out of like a big box store where they'll be set up there. But
sure.
I do people go door to door selling stuff anymore?
Well, they do weirdly in my neighborhood, but not Girl Scouts. They try to sell me like sprinklers and solar panels and garbage all the time.
So it's not like kids doing fundraising.
No, it's a bunch of annoying people.
Did you do that when you were younger? Like, did you have to?
I mostly didn't care about, like, to support the local sports team that I was on or whatever. Like, I didn't care. Like, if my grandma would always buy some stuff for me just because she wanted to show support.
You guilted her into it.
Yeah, but she was usually the only one. Maybe a neighbor or two. I didn't try very hard.
I constantly was having to sell stuff.
Yeah.
Constantly. Whether it was Boy Scouts, whether it was sports stuff, whether it was high school stuff, whether it was whatever it was. I just was constantly going door to door.
I remember the cards, the discount cards.
I didn't ever have to sell those.
I had that for Gladiator football. Shout out to the Omaha Gladiators.
And I think about, like, it was a different time because it didn't cost as much, but like neighbors bought stuff all the time from me. And I think about how I never have anyone show up at my door. And when I have, like, I gave a kid like a $20 donation because I didn't want the stuff that he was selling.
You just wanted to.
But I was like, you know what? You're out here going door to door. I want you to be rewarded. Who knows? Maybe he kept it for himself, but whatever it is. So
you wanted to pay it forward a little bit, which I get it. I once bought a $25 bag of popcorn from a very well-placed child at Stone Creek Golf Course. And then I wanted to punch myself in the face afterwards.
I have definitely played in some golf events where there's like little kids that strategically set up where your cart has to go.
Unbelievable.
And they have lemonades. So good. They have lemonades. They have like everything. And then they have like their mom's Venmo account that you can pay to. And it's like, okay, I'll spend $5 on this glass of lemonade.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, I don't regret it. The lemonade hits every time.
I just don't have the kind of entrepreneurial spirit that would make me want to do that.
Which is weird because I would think that
some kids do. Some kids do.
You would strike me as someone who would be like very into the entrepreneurial thing.
As a kid, I was shy.
Okay.
I probably still am shy. Anyway, let's do our college basketball power rankings with tiers.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how differing we are here. So I have 4.
5.
I basically ranked 22, 23, 24, 25 teams here.
Okay. I don't have as many ranked.
No, we don't. Yeah. Okay. So we don't have to go through all of it.
No, you can.
But I think what should be noted is who is in tier 1 and tier 2. And there was more teams in tier 1 for me when I sat down and actually did this yesterday than I expected there to be.
Okay, so when we used to do this, we gave nifty names to the tiers.
Yes, I
still did that.
I have a name.
But when I did that, it really kind of separated out like tier 1 and tier 2, where you could really argue it's like tier 1.5, because I don't have a problem with these other teams being in there. because I have it as the best where there's 2 teams, and then contenders where there's 6 teams. So I have 8 teams that I think I would be okay if they were all grouped together. But I felt like Michigan and Arizona needed to be on a level above.
Interesting. I have teams that I could see winning the national championship. So that would be your best of the best category. And then my second tier is like these. I have a lot of confidence that these teams will get to the second weekend. Yeah. Probably not going to win a national championship. Could see it. Unlikely, but they're going to get to the second weekend.
My version of that tier is called flawed but dangerous.
Okay. All right. Let's do it. Teams I could see winning the national championship. I have 6 teams.
Okay.
In this tier. Number 1 is Arizona. Number 2 is Duke.
Okay.
Number 3 is Houston. Number 4 is Iowa State, which I know that didn't age well because they lost to TCU last night. These teams that I've really piped up for over the last couple of weeks have just really not done me any favors, but I think they're so good. 5 is Michigan and 6 is UConn.
Okay. I have the best tier, which is Michigan and Arizona, and full stop, end of tier.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
They get to be up there. My
Michigan
favorite part about
Arizona.
doing this is looking at it. In my first 2 tiers, 5 of the teams lost in the last 2.
I know. Which it's a great lesson. Losing happens.
In college basketball.
You can lose, and you will. This is my second group of like contenders, certainly second week, like teams that I feel good about that are going to end up in the second weekend. Illinois. So there's 7. Gonzaga, Nebraska, Kansas, Florida, Purdue.
Okay. I have a second tier called title contenders, in which it is Houston, Duke, Illinois, Iowa State, UConn, and as much as it pains me to put them there,
Gonzaga,
Kansas.
You did not have Nebraska in that tier? You said
No.
Nebraska. Oh, whoa. Not a title contender.
I mean, I'm okay with that. Like I'm
You
I'm
should
okay
be
with
okay
them
with
not
that.
being
Yeah.
a title contender. So I have 8 teams here in the top 2 tiers, and I feel very comfortable not having Nebraska in that.
So I have 12. And so the teams that are missing from yours that have appeared in mine.
You want me to do tier 3 to see if they show up in this?
Well, let me try and identify them real quick.
Okay.
Nebraska, Gonzaga, Florida, and Purdue.
Yep. Okay. So flawed but dangerous.
Yeah.
Michigan State.
Yep.
Nebraska.
Yep.
Florida.
Yep.
Purdue.
There you go. There you go. So my next tier is called probably offended they're not in the second tier. Vanderbilt, who's done really
I don't
nothing,
even have them.
they've done nothing but win this year. Just I mean, I don't know. Anyway, the SEC is a little down, but Vanderbilt's good. I have Michigan State in there and St. John's.
Okay.
I gotta give a little love to my Big East people.
So I only did 15. So I have a tier before my last tier they belong somewhere, but I don't think that they're like, I could see them getting bounced early, and I could see them being really annoying to play in the tournament. And I have Texas Tech and Gonzaga in that tier.
Yeah.
I thought about, and if I had included more teams, I think North Carolina would have a case for that. Maybe Virginia. Have you watched any Virginia this year?
No.
I've watched like maybe 2 minutes of Virginia, so I don't feel comfortable. And I don't know what to do with St. John's because I don't know how good they are. But
fair.
So let's say you have St. John's in the Sweet 16. You're probably nervous about that game.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
So,
against one of those other teams.
Like let's say St. John's is a 4 seed and you're a 1. Like you're Michigan and you're getting St. John's in the Sweet 16. Yes. That's not like we feel good we're getting this team.
That's a hell of a game. And a lot of it would be with St. John's in particular, it's just a lot of it is how it gets officiated.
Right.
Which is very scary.
Which, if you ask Nebraska fans, that's how Michigan won their game against Nebraska. So
could
be a lot
scary.
of free throws.
Other teams that I want to just mention that either they could go deep or just I enjoy watching them. Iowa, shout out to Iowa. They're going to be a really tough one down the stretch.
About someone that's just revolutionized what you think about how they play
instantly.
Like
instantly,
they went from the game is going to be in the 90s, and it's because they only shoot with
Yeah.
27 seconds left on the shot.
It's the
clock.
perfect setup. They have a great defense, and they have Bennett Sturts.
They did it immediately.
Instantaneously. Now it helps when you have Sturts right away. Texas Tech. So Alabama, I'm going to put Alabama in here.
Okay.
They have a almost horrific defense, but they could score 100 against anybody.
Yeah.
So I'm like, they're a volatile team. How about Wisconsin? We got to give some love to Wisconsin
that's fair.
for last night, for going on the road and beating Illinois. And then some other teams that I want to mention are Texas, who hasn't lost at home in like 100 years, Kentucky and Arkansas.
Okay.
Just teams that I would.
Arkansas
throw
was
in
the only
mix.
other SEC team I considered, and they would have went in the they belong somewhere.
Yeah.
How about here?
So we weren't as differing as I thought. I was interested to see where your tier line was for the first one. I've decided to be more inclusive today.
It was a little bit more of a separatist, but I did have this tier that I felt like you neglected.
Which
Undefeated Miami of Ohio.
I did neglect that tier, and I forgot that they existed, which is more the reason why we need to make our city of the day.
Are we just going to plan on that?
Oxford, Ohio.
Yes. Do you want me to reach out to somebody at Oxford to see if they'd like to come on to talk about Oxford?
The Oxford Chamber of Commerce.
Or their mayor?
So their mayor would probably do it.
I'm gonna do this.
Oxford, Ohio mayor. Do they have a mayor?
I would hope so.
Mayor Bill Snavely.
Okay.
He's a bald guy. He looks like he lives and breathes Oxford. That's what oh wow, here's an Instagram picture of him pouring pancakes onto a griddle.
Okay.
Reach out to Bill Snavely.
I'm going to reach out
has
to Bill Snavely.
86 Instagram followers.
I don't know if I'm going to follow, but I will reach out to Bill Snavely.
You got-
What I'll probably do is just call over there. I'm probably not going to slide into Bill Snavely's DMs. I'll just use a publicly available telephone number and see if there's interest in coming
Hello,
on.
may I speak with Bill Snavely?
Yeah, I'd like to talk to
please?
Mayor Snavely. Sorry, he's out mowing the lawn.
He's busy right now. Ryan in Delaware writes in on the text line, put it on the internet. Mike Schaefer hates Nebraska. Wow.
What?
I can't believe that's true.
I have him 10th out of my teams.
What?
That can't be true.
But not a national championship contender. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, let's take a break.
I'm being ice young.
You are.
No!
You are.
No, I've
By
lived
your
long
own-
enough to see myself become the villain.
By your own people. We'll get to the headlines, and we'll talk more, of course, about the basketball game all to come on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. But first, a word from Underdog Fantasy, where fast breaks, buzzer beaters, and block parties are back, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action. You can make picks and win money right now in Nebraska. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. Get those picks right. You could win up to 5,000 times your cash. Imagine that, an opportunity of a lifetime for you on Underdog. It is open across the board in the association or anywhere else you would like to look. So hop on it right now, and it's very easy, higher or lower. Download the app today. Use promo code HAPPER1620 to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code HAPPER1620. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 19 plus and present in Nebraska. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com for details. Concern with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, more on Nebraska and Purdue coming up in just a couple minutes. Sam McEwen will join us at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour. Lauren Michelson still to come at 9:15 as well. So we have plenty more, and we really do have to shoehorn in this topic about the Iowa lawmakers wooing the Bears to Iowa. I just feel like it's a Mike Schaefer tailor-made topic.
Well, we've already talked about where in Iowa we would like it to be.
Mm-hmm.
I have no issue with this.
Okay, perfect. We'll shoehorn that in at some place during the show. All right, but first, let's get to the headlines. Joey!
I enjoyed reading this first headline, and I think you're going to stick with this, but I got two just in case. The first one I really like. Drug dealer inspired by Home Alone rigged house with booby traps.
Drug dealer, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We're going to go with it, Shafe?
We're clicking.
Obvious, yeah.
So a drug dealer who rigged his house with booby traps after being inspired from the Christmas classic Home Alone has been jailed for 7 years. Ian Clogton used tripwires and homemade pipe bombs to protect his drug business from would-be intruders. Around 100 homes in Grimethorpe, a former pit village in South Yorkshire in the UK, had to be evacuated in May of 2024 as police searched 3 neighboring houses connected to Clogton and his ex-wife. They found a series of traps as well as a homemade flamethrower, large quantities of cannabis, amphetamines, and cash. Mr. Clogton was jailed for 7 years at Sheffield Crown Court on Tuesday by Judge Graham Reeds, who said he was a drug dealer who used these weapons to protect his cannabis growing operation.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Now, unfortunately, when you do get caught, you're probably, there's going to be more on top of it just because, you could probably get some attempted murder stuff in there. So, if you're getting, I don't know if he was getting, if he was doing the whole paint can thing, but
yeah,
torches were mentioned. So it's very interesting. And they all to protect his drug empire.
So I don't know if this will work for either of you, but because this is in the UK and not the United States, it actually makes me think more of Skyfall. Like the James Bond movie where everyone knows he's going back to this house, and so he sets it up with I don't know, the house's butler, caretaker, and they have it all ready to go for when the big bads come and try to stop Daniel Craig.
I do love the idea of a booby trap, that's for sure, and especially the tantalizing idea of it working.
Yeah,
just the anticipation.
That sounds fun.
So his ex-wife Wesley was sentenced to 21 months in prison, suspended for 2 years.
So she
got sentenced as well.
An accomplice.
Yeah. So opening the trial to jurors last October, prosecutor Helen Chapman said, "If you are sitting there thinking that this sounds like a little like a film Home Alone, then you would be correct. In fact, that is precisely what Ian Clogton said he was aiming for when he told police about these devices. So police found a fishing wire running across the length of one of the rooms at neat height, attached to an electrical connector and a battery pack. Clogton told police the explosives were crow scares used by farmers, which he had inserted into a plastic piping and, in one instance, a bag of paint. A stun gun was found behind a fridge freezer.
They just tased Ryan.
And a homemade flamethrower was discovered at a workshop, like Connor said.
Homemade flamethrower.
Other weapons found at the properties included 2 high-powered air guns and a crossbow. A large amount of cash was also discovered, including, I don't know what, 27,000
euros
or pounds or sewn into a sofa. So cannabis plants were found growing in 2 of the houses, including some intense in hidden rooms. The Home Alone fan was caught when Border Force found a package of imitation firearms addressed to his ex-wife at Heathrow Airport.
Yep. Well, you never know.
It is pounds, Joey. Good work.
You never know what people are going to draw inspiration from. And in this case, it's, Home Alone from the perspective of just booby trapping his house and making sure that nobody can get in. My question is so they knew that he had drugs in there in the first place, and that's what, did they raid it? And that's when they found all the Home Alone booby traps?
Well, if you look at the article, you could see pictures of these sticky notes with messages on there. One of them this is on newssky.com, but one of the warnings it says, warning, do not enter these premises unless invited to do so. The premises and its surrounding buildings yard are booby trapped.
You have been warned.
Yep. And then the other one is, congratulations, well done for getting this far. Now would be a good time to get measured up for your coffin and say goodbye to loved ones.
Dear God.
This game is electrified in excess of 50,000 volts. Enter at your own risk. Be warned.
So, there's some people like in the neighborhood who have like a beware of dog sign and
Sure.
there's no dog to be seen. Or there's also some people who have the like the home security system sign planted out in their front yard and they don't have a home security system or anything like that. So some people put it up for jokes and or to make it have the appearance that you will get caught if you try to break in. And maybe it's a deterrent, but if there's a handwritten sign on the gate that says, if you touch this gate, you're probably going to die because there's 50,000 volts of electricity inside of it, I would tend to take that seriously.
Yeah. I thought you were going to go the other way and be like, I would like to see how true this is.
No.
See how this plays out.
No, I'm going to go ahead and believe that. I'm with it. This guy seems crazy. He typed out a handwritten note. I'm good. I'm not going to test the theory. All right. Thank you, Joey.
Yeah.
That is the headline. When we come back, more on the Huskers. Did they going into the game last night, do they feel as if they have arrived? There was some debate about this yesterday.
It's so hard because I don't know how to have that conversation. It's the same way where it's like, I don't know how to be disappointed in the fact that they're 21-3, but obviously losing yesterday didn't feel great.
Okay. So we'll try next on 1620 The Zone. All right, Nebraska basketball last night loses 80-77 in overtime against Purdue at home. Nebraska plummets to number 14 in the KenPom rankings. Could you imagine?
Plummeting.
Yeah, they are dropping like flies out there.
We'll see where they move up to by the end of the week.
Oh yeah. I was going to use this opportunity to get to a text. I think this is in reaction to our
Power
college
rankings with tears.
Yes, from earlier. A text from the 402. Hearing Connor hate accepting Nebraska is a good basketball team is hilarious. For weeks, you talk like there's some bum team that's 500. I believe I was among the first to say, you guys need to drop it. This team is really, really good because they're connected. But I guess that doesn't matter. I can't do anything these days. People will put different thoughts in my head.
So what are we calling this segment? Hating on Happer?
So I want, we need your help on this.
Hated 8.
Just Happer's random run-ins with wackos or something. That's not very catchy or anything like that. But so we have that one. And then we had a couple last night where I outwardly said, like, hey, I am actually scared to tweet about Nebraska basketball these days because it doesn't go, like, I can't comment on the games anymore because even if it's positive, people will find, they will see, or they will think that it's some sort of a backhanded compliment or something like that. And they don't like it. So, but with all that being said, I did last night. I was on my computer. I was watching the game. I was ready to get active on with the Twitter fingers. So I said,
I saw one of yours. It made me laugh.
I said that rink mass posture reminded me of when Tom Hanks made Fire in Castaway.
The one that made me laugh.
It's pretty funny.
I'm sitting there in the arena. It's like a timeout or whatever. I'm looking at my phone, and I see that, and I was like, that's pretty funny. And then I saw later someone got after you about your own posture.
So that was it. That was it. The response to that tweet, which I thought was sort of innocuous and maybe funny, was from this one guy who said, "Aren't you fat?" And I was like, well, I don't think so. I don't know. You'd have to ask. That's up to everybody else, I suppose. But
as a fat person, we don't accept you as part of our tribe.
Yeah, I was like, I'm probably like close.
I wouldn't call you skinny.
I looked at myself in the mirror this morning. I was like, I don't think I'm fat.
No.
But like just shy, maybe near the range of fat, but not quite
different
there.
Kind of shy than you were as a child without the entrepreneurial spirit.
Exactly. And that's what I said to the guy. I was like, I'm probably not quite there.
Yeah.
And then he
Speaking
responded
on behalf of the fatties, you're not part of us.
And then
you're not one of us.
This person responded by saying, body shaming a D1 athlete not named Audie Crooks. So I can body shame Audie Crooks, by the way, according to this person, is an interesting take for a slightly obese radio hack, which I thought we established that I'm not fat. And so I was like, look, I was just talking about his posture. Learn how to read, buddy. And then he said, save your bad takes for your radio show. Oh, wait. I think he had thought that I had been fired, which I had not been fired. And so I informed him of the bad news that I did not.
A lot going on.
I informed him of the bad news that I did not get fired. And I told him that there were some really good adult reading programs out there to be able to learn how to read and comprehend the words that you are reading.
What you need to do is ask the nearest adult to read this sentence to you so you can understand it better.
Yeah.
That's the best way to really just anger somebody in that regard.
Just let Bill Moose do the message.
There you go.
Yeah.
You could have Bill Moose say something about it. And then someone responded to my tweet about not tweeting about Nebraska ball games, and they were like, good, shut up. And then I looked at this guy's profile, and this not Lil Red, and all he ever did was talk about how bad 1620 the zone is.
Yeah.
And so I tweeted him back and I said, keep tweeting about how much you hate 1620 the zone. I'll start to believe you soon. That's all he ever did. And then I think he had maybe one more response. Will do. Keep trolling the fan base that pays your checks. 1620 the revolving door will eventually get you too, is what he said. So people are very personal, and I don't know why they don't like me, but I watch the games and I say what I think, and I think everybody else does the same thing. But for some reason, I'm the person that
Oh no, I mean, I
Anger
don't
gets
think you're
taken out.
alone in it, though.
No.
You have drawn the ire of a certain segment of the fan base.
The
That,
weirdos, the people who can't read, I guess.
This happens. It happens.
It does, but that was just another example.
Conversely, my
last
mentions
night.
were all just Purdue people making fun of the fact that Nebraska lost to Purdue and telling me how great Braden Smith is.
They jumped in yours. What did
well,
you
I
say
had to
last
tweet
night?
about Braden Smith. Like that was
You were
that
mad
was
about
it.
yes. You
I just said I'm tired of his act. That's it.
well, you had the one tweet a couple games ago about the anti-European,
Which
and people
again. The Illinois fan base is utterly humorless because they thought that I was insulting them before the game when I said a classic matchup of traditional top 10 powers, Illinois and Nebraska. And the multiple mentions are, in my mentions of people, why don't you look it up, buddy? Illinois is one of the top ranked teams in the history of the AP poll. Yeah. Why don't you learn to figure that out?
Nobody has any jokes when talking about the teams.
You might have considered I wasn't talking about Illinois here in the context of this. And then there's the people who didn't get the joke about Nebraska's relations with Europe being harmed because they were playing, they had won and they were mock waving to the crowd and whatever else.
Yeah.
I didn't have any problem with it. I was making a joke.
No, of course. And then classic, there was a whole bunch of screenshots. Did you see all these European guys in Nebraska's roster? Yeah. What's wrong? You don't like those Europeans?
And then it's all right, I'm not even going to bother with this because
good job by you.
There's just nothing to be done here.
Just stay out of it.
I have learned that way more than college football, college basketball programs, their fan bases are way, way more likely to just search things out to be mad about on Twitter.
Very much so.
It's
a very Twitter sport.
As someone who tweets a lot during college football season, I can't remember a fan base where it's been like the Illinois one, where I'm still getting stuff. Now it's quieted down because they've lost their last 2 games and they've gone back to just hating on everything that they're doing over there. But I can't think of a college football fan base that I have ever received the ire the way that I did from Illinois. And again, it was not even really about them. It was jokes, and they didn't land.
Nope.
For the good people in the land.
People do not have a sense of humor.
But there's more anger in college basketball than I ever would have guessed.
Yeah, I wonder what happened.
Nebraska's part of this too. And they have their meme army and everything that they do too after they win games. The meme army has been quieted the last few weeks because they haven't won as many games. But.
Oh yeah, there's nowhere to meme because they only meme the final score tweet
or reporters of other teams now or everything else. So.
They do.
I've seen it more.
Oh no,
it's not always just that. Sometimes it's just other things in there.
Jeez. Nobody's safe.
The internet wars are wild. I'm over here just
they are waging.
I'm going to make this comment, close my app, and then I'll open it up in an hour.
That's a much better idea. But last night I had my computer open and I kept on getting notifications, or it would pop up, and I would be like, "All right, I'm responding tonight. I'm going to talk about this guy how he can't read."
At one point in time during Nebraska football games, I was like, I should really limit the amount of tweets I send during games. Maybe you only get 1 per quarter or something like that. Because sometimes it can just get to be too much.
Yeah.
And I need to be better about it.
A rate limit. Maybe a joke limit.
There should be. I should
People
probably
cannot
not
handle
attempt
jokes.
to do jokes.
People cannot
That should be
jokes.
the starting point.
All right, but onto the game last night. There. By the way, as we mentioned, well, I can't remember if this was before we started this show or not, but there always seems to be some sort of controversy that comes out of the games when Nebraska loses. I think the controversy last night, maybe there was a few the internet globbed onto. Number one was the slipping of Jamarcus Lawrence, and people had all sorts of theories on that. Who had the water bottle in their hand?
Well, I was asking, was there an actual shot you could see where there was literal water on the floor?
No. I saw a couple of different local TV,
but it's I don't know that there's no smoking gun.
No, I saw a couple TV, baseline angles, and I didn't see the standing water on the floor or anything like that.
Be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we could ask Lauren when she comes on in a little bit. But
Lauren, were you right down the line?
What did you see as far as the perspiration was concerned? But I think just bad luck mostly on that one until further notice. The other one was one of the Purdue staffers apparently had something thrown at him At least that's what he claimed on Twitter.
Yeah,
he claimed that it was a full beer can, which feels impossible because I don't think they sell cans of beer, and I don't think I don't know.
Well,
I think
there's two things here.
You would know that if it was a full beer can that hit you.
If a full beer can was thrown, it would have been opened by the people that sell you the beer can. They open it before you walk away.
Correct.
Which then means beer would have spilled all over the people of which sat between you and where the can was.
It would have smelled horrible.
So then the allegation is either, okay, it was a full beer can, but it wasn't opened, which they snuck in the beer can.
That would be the only way.
So I have you told me, I didn't see this. When you told me this, my radar was up immediately because there's things that are inconsistent with how Pinnacle Bank operates.
Maybe they got something thrown at them, which is bad.
But even then, there are enough eyes in that building that if something gets thrown, they can find it easily enough, find where it comes from. Like just putting it on Twitter, I don't know. I'm skeptical of the entire thing.
It's also, it also serves as like a dunk, of like, hey, we won. Nice of you to throw something at me, but I don't care.
And maybe it was at the end of the game.
I think it was after the game from what he made it sound like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just don't know.
And then, look, we get a YouTube comment from Blue Jay R6. I saw a video. I think it was a water bottle, but yes, something was thrown. Interesting. Well, I don't know. Maybe I have to look further into that. Don't think it was a full beer can though. Doesn't make it a whole lot better that if something was thrown.
I don't want stuff being thrown at Pinnacle.
We don't need stuff being thrown at any venues. And then the third internet controversy was Harper Murray in a Purdue shirt in a picture with Fletcher Lawyer after the game. People were very, very thrown off by this, which is fair because I don't really understand.
Did they go to school together or something?
I don't know.
We could probably look that one up, right?
Where Fletcher Lawyer went to high school?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's from Fort Wayne, Indiana, so that right away
throws
me
that out the window.
Maybe he moved to Fort Wayne as a kid because she's from Michigan.
Maybe they're friends.
Could be friends.
Maybe they're friends.
Could be friendly. Who knows?
I don't know. But those were the controversies of all of the controversies last night. And then there was the game. I want to ask you this, Schaefer, before we get to Sam. Do you feel at all as if Nebraska has not lost completely, because that's not fair. And once again, we think about this in context. They've lost games to Michigan, Illinois, and Purdue. There's nothing to be
3 top 15.
There's nothing to be disappointed about. And this is no way, like I always feel like I have to defend myself before I even say stuff. I'm very much on edge these days. And like this in no way talks about the future or anything like that. Like there's a whole bunch of disclaimers that I have to say. But let me ask this. Do you feel like they've lost their edge a little bit? I found it uncharacteristic the way that they played early in the game. Now, with that being said, they responded and made it even at the end.
So here's the reason
I
would say no. They got it back to where they were in that game.
But they have been a team that I have just been able to trust so inherently, so implicitly over the entire stretch of the season and say, I know what I'm going to get at all times.
But I guess, so the question there becomes like, could you not ask that of a lot of different teams?
Yeah.
Because
it's hard to sustain. What Nebraska is doing.
Did Iowa State lose its edge because they've now lost 3 games out of their last 6?
That I don't know. I'm not talking about that.
Right.
I don't, without watching the game in full, I can't tell you what happened. But I'm saying I know how Nebraska needs to be in order to beat these types of teams. And they weren't that for stretches of the Illinois game. And then, obviously significant stretches of this last game as well.
Yeah, I think if nothing else, we have seen them encounter different types of teams that have given them issues that maybe they just weren't playing a lot of. Like, between Illinois and Purdue and even Michigan to a degree, though it didn't feel to be as big of an issue with Michigan, the height and length of these teams were significantly more problematic than what we've seen Nebraska have to deal with. They played taller teams. They played other teams. But when Purdue was able to square that up with hitting, what did we say, 13 threes yesterday? I mean, the offensive rebounds were an issue. They were less of an issue than some of the open looks that Purdue got right at the beginning of the game because Nebraska came out and didn't play defense the way that you expect them to.
That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Like that is where I'm basing this whole thing off.
Right.
What they, credit Purdue for making the shots and obviously that ball was popping.
And here's the
around
other
them.
thing, Nebraska had
really
open looks on the other end that they didn't make.
True.
And that speaks to your point of that maybe was affecting then the defense that you were getting.
That's how I felt. And I hadn't felt this way really in now the opponent matters because who you're playing, you don't just get to play in the vacuum, but we try to look at it that way because you're only following one team and not the rest of them. But I just felt like over the last couple games I've noticed this trend of lack of if they don't get the result on offense, it does affect their defense a little bit. And I know the messages that are being, said in that locker room, and I know coaches in general, they're always talking about it can't be that way for us. We have to be the other way. If we don't get an offensive result, if we don't get a bucket on offense, we have to dig in even harder on defense. So we have to have more of an edge on defense. But this is human nature, right? When the crowd is up and you've made a three in transition, you're going to dig in more on defense. And I thought it was obvious that was the case last night.
Yeah.
When their offense was good, when they were on the 18-2 run, I mean, their defense was smothering, incredible. And there was nothing that Purdue could have done. So Nebraska, in order to beat these types of teams, they're going to need to be that more consistently. Therein lies their margin for error.
Yeah.
Right there.
Well, and it's tough too, because when I think back to that 18-2 run, a lot of it comes out to me of like they kind of had started to up their level of defense leading into that. So then the defense was leading to the offense, so then feeds back into the defense, which is how they largely play.
Yep.
And so again, like if they had lost that game 85-63, I think it'd be a lot easier for me to say unequivocally yes, because we haven't seen them lose like that.
Right.
We haven't seen them really be down the way that they were. Now they trailed Oklahoma by 16, I think. And they trailed Indiana by 16.
I know
and
that.
they came back and they won those games. They almost won last night, down 22. It felt and looked different because they looked a little listless at times. They also, again, I come out of this game and it's, yes, the offensive rebounds are a problem. Yes, they shouldn't have allowed as many open looks as they did early in the game and whatever else. There was just things that they did last night that you just don't, if they lost their edge somewhere, some of it is with the turnovers. Some of it is with just uncharacteristically stupid plays on the offensive end that had nothing to do with their defensive effort. It was just being dumb with the basketball.
I think it goes into the bigger picture of where defensive effort comes from, which is focus.
Yeah.
And focus and intent. Like Nebraska, the book on them this year has been they don't turn the basketball over. I mean, they're top 10 in the country in turnover rate right now. And so if you have one singular game where like what the past creates for you is a blueprint and how you have to be going forward. And so if you have a night, if your turnover rate is a top 10 in the country, if you have Sam Hoiberg, who's like 5.5 to none, assisted turnover with or one in assisted turnover rate, which is, just incredible. If you have a night where you turn the ball over 14 times or 20 times or whatever it might be, you have to make up for that in other categories. Yep. And Nebraska got out offensive rebounded 21-6. They got beat on the boards in general. They didn't have a good night from the free throw line, like the little stat categories like that. And so I think it's hard for them if they are not exactly who they always are for them to make up in other places because they're probably just not going to win offensive rebound battles night and night. That's the best way to make up for your deficiencies. Get extra possessions. And they're a team that doesn't do it very often.
Right.
Because they're not built that way. And that's okay as long as you're good at what you're normally good at.
Right. And it just felt like there was too many things that they weren't crisp or doing well last night that ultimately affected their ability to win that game. The other thing that last night showed me again, and this is, we can get into this conversation, we can just say it and whatever. I mean, sometimes it's tough for people coming off of a loss, you don't really want to hear it. The thing that I appreciate the most about this team in every single regard, and we've seen it play out now multiple times and in different ways, they don't panic. They absolutely do not panic in terms of who they are, what they want to do. They may not be as crisp all the way through, but that was a team that was down 22 to a good basketball team and had a chance to win the game at the end of regulation, had a chance to win the game in overtime. They went down 14-1. They were down 22 at one point. They started the second half and they gave up 6 straight points on 3-pointers. They did things. They kept putting themselves in holes, but they also showed that they have the ability to climb out of it, that they can play the good basketball. It's how they can do that from the start, and normally they have. But that's what made last night feel so uncharacteristic is I don't know that there's been another game. They've been down, as we've discussed, but has there been another game other than maybe Oklahoma where they just started that far in a hole right off the bat?
No. Not
normally
it's
the other way around of them doing it to everybody else.
No, I mean, I just figured that, I knew Nebraska was going to make some sort of run, but Purdue generally sustained it before halftime. What was it? 46-20, 46-30 at halftime, something like that. I could find it here real quick, but 40-24 at halftime. And like Purdue comes right out and they go on a 6-0 spurt right away. And you're like, oh, well, it's just not happening tonight.
Right.
And soon enough, here it comes.
Roll right back.
At first, it was kind of just chipping away. And then it was the full on, like Purdue, I think, was probably in a little bit of scramble mode, late. And they put pressure on them. That's for sure. Yeah. I think I will say this, and we'll say another thing about the home crowd in a second. They are it is impressive because it is a proactive home crowd.
It was loud. I don't know what so this is where you wish you could have that duel of being in there, but then also like hearing it on TV.
Oh, it sounded loud.
I have no idea how it came across on television.
It sounded loud, but I was more impressed like when you're down 22 or you're down 15 and you're just like, come on, guys, here's some energy. Here's some energy. They just keep coming. And I just, I think the crowd probably deserves some credit for Nebraska clawing back into that game.
And they did a great job. I mean, people were on their feet. Nebraska's down 12. Somebody hits a 3. They're on their feet down 9 because they want to be loud. The section I'm in, Purdue's playing on offense coming towards you. And so student section's already standing the entire game. My section's standing up when Nebraska's on defense. Like, that was a loud, engaged crowd last night.
It was.
They've done a nice job with kind of the atmosphere in there where they sort of, I don't know if they're doing stuff with the lights now, but like Nebraska hits a big 3 and it just feels like there's visually things are changing. It gets a little bit darker in there. It's louder. People are getting to their feet. At one point, Sandstorm hits and I think it was before Mass shot the free throw or whatever. And the place is just bonkers with 11 seconds to go. Like I
thought there was going to be some injuries in the student section after Mass made that because I thought they were piling all over each other in there, people falling over like crazy.
So I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but a lot of last night felt to me the way that the Nebraska-Ohio State game last year, they ended up in the triple overtime.
Oh, yeah.
Bryce Williams has a chance to win it with the and one. He doesn't make the free throw, or maybe his was just a foul and he made 1 out of 2.
Just sort of like a bonkers.
And it's like they could have won in regulation, and then they're up again in overtime, and they don't finish it out when they're up by 4 points with, a minute and a half left or whatever it is. And so it's felt like there was opportunities in there for Nebraska that they let slip through their fingers in that game, and then certainly in this one.
And it's a tough one because they would have it would have helped a lot in the Big Ten race.
I mean, the conversation we would be having today had they closed out a 22-point comeback to go to 22-2 to cement themselves as the number 2 team in the conference with Illinois losing to Wisconsin. And then the rest of their schedule
would have been, are they going to win the
is,
Big Ten?
It's going to be, are we legitimately looking at a chance that Nebraska's 29-2 or 28-3?
Yeah.
And that's a real conversation. Now, they could still finish 28-3. I don't think they will. But they still could. But it's, the difference of having that conversation and instead having the one that we are is one free throw.
Yeah, I don't.
One literal free throw.
And on the other side, quickly, like, if if they get blown out in that game, if it happens, if it's 85-60, whatever, like you said earlier, it's probably a little bit of a different conversation today just because we hadn't seen that yet before.
It's like, they're good, but how?
But
good?
for me right now, it's like I don't think really much has changed.
No, I don't have any different opinion on them than I did before the Purdue game.
By the way, Badonk sent me this video that was floating around. Yeah, it looks like something comes out of toward the Purdue bench. Possibly the angle looks like it's from like the way upstairs. But I don't know what it was. Maybe a t-shirt, maybe a water bottle or something like that. But something came out there. So
no part of me believes that there is any malfeasance on Purdue.
No,
correctly guessed where Jamarcus Lawrence was going to start his attempt there.
No, not on the slide, on the throwing of the whatever. Remember the guy said he got Yeah. Something came out. I don't know what it was though. All right, let's take a break. Sam McEwen is our next guest on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Kilber with you on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend, Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald. Hey, Sam, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Nothing. What do you think about Nebraska? Where do you stand on Nebraska basketball after you've now seen them be human over the last couple weeks at least?
Yeah, we've seen them be human. I mean, I think they're running into a stretch where they're probably going to look a little bit more superhuman after last night because they're going to play some teams that I think they can kind of put the hammer on. But that's going to be interesting in and of itself because now we're going to find out, okay, now that they've lost a little bit, do they play with the same level of confidence and swagger like Hoiberg was talking about last night? Now that they know they're a little bit vulnerable. And so that'll be intriguing to see. I thought last night they came out and they really took a punch early, and they did find it at the end of the game. The crowd really helped them, and Purdue Purdue choked. I mean, that was they had guys that were shooting 85% from the free throw line, missing 2 and 3 free throws. I mean, they darn near blew the game, but Nebraska's got to play with energy early. They have to play like they're the better team every night. And I felt like last night they didn't do that for the first 5 minutes of the game, and that cost them the game. Those things matter in March, so when we get to the Big Ten tournament, Big Ten semis or, first or second round of the NCAA tournament, Nebraska needs to play confident and tough from the jump. And so they learned a little bit of a lesson last night, I would think.
Where's your confidence level that Nebraska can get a top 4 seed in the Big Ten? It's getting crowded at the top. We saw with Purdue winning, with Wisconsin winning, and then Illinois losing. You've got a lot of teams hanging around that 3-loss line and 10 wins. Illinois, I think, is 11-3, and Purdue, Nebraska, and Michigan State are 10-3. I mean, so there's 4 spots to get the double bye. Do you think Nebraska can pull off one of those?
I do. I think they've got to find a way to get Michigan State to lose, which they can't control. So they've kind of got to win out. Maybe they've got to win all but one. And if they do that, then they'll be 16-4. So if they only lose one on the way out, they'll be 16-4. And then they need Michigan State to lose a game or two and finish 15-5 or 16-4. Nebraska wins that tiebreaker. For what it's worth, I think the double bye would be helpful for Nebraska as it relates to winning the Big Ten tournament. I don't know that it'll help them a ton to win that 4-5 game. So if you were going to ask me at this point, okay, who's Nebraska going to play in the 4-5 game? It's going to be Purdue or Michigan State, and you almost want a game before that to prepare for it so that you're a little bit warm going into the United Center. Versus cold. The last time Nebraska played there, I remembered watching that. Remembered that Nebraska kind of got the first night off, and then they had to go play Minnesota. I think that's the way it worked. And Nebraska just didn't play well early in that game. It was another deal where they almost finished a miraculous comeback. Starting well in conference and NCAA tournament games is really important. Like, it's no joke. You get behind early, it's upset alert city. So they've got to figure that issue out. They've had some slow starts recently, and they got to get going right out of the jump. I didn't think they played great at Rutgers. I really didn't. I thought they played okay. I thought they played okay at Rutgers. But Rutgers is a bad team, and they did not run them out of the building. And I know Fred defended them. Well, we didn't. They made some tough shots. Run that team out of the building. On Saturday, run Northwestern out of the building. 25-7 in the first 10 minutes. Like, put them away. Don't let them linger. So that's something I think they got to get better at.
Sam, I want to ask you, maybe a football question or two for you as well, but I want to ask you about the Nebraska women, who, I mean, things are starting to slip here a little bit. I don't know what I think you've projected before that you need 17, 18 wins to get into the NCAA tournament. They're 16-8 right now. They're probably going to be underdogs in their next 4 before the regular season finale against Rutgers. I mean, this is from starting 12-0. I mean, they're in a very different place right now.
They sure are. I think they got to get to 19 and maybe they can do that through a win in the Big Ten tournament. But I think they got to get to 19, and it would probably benefit them to do that before the Big Ten tournament, which means they got to win 3. They're going to beat Rutgers at the end of the season. That means they got to find a way to win 2 among at Minnesota, Iowa, at Washington, and at Oregon. It's possible. I think that the 2 easiest games might be the next 2, which is at Minnesota and Iowa.
Yep.
Ironically, those are the 2 best teams that they'll face in that group. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm sure she's frustrated. The coach, some of their players have maxed out, so they've kind of hit their ceiling. And this is what happens when you face really, really good athletic teams and you fall short by 2 at Michigan State and 6 at Michigan. Those are 2 games I'm sure they would have loved to have won. And, they don't quite have all the components defensively. So the area where they miss Alexis Markowski the most is on defense. So the thing about Alexis is you could ask her to defend somebody one-on-one, and that person might score 20, but she could do it. She could defend them, and then they could defend other players with the other 4 defenders. Now it's harder. Without her, sometimes they got to have a lot of help defense, or otherwise they're going to get, carved up. And so they've got to get better there. Natalie Potts not being healthy doesn't help them. But they got to find a way here down the stretch. It won't surprise me if they do. But the game against Iowa was big. Iowa's not.
Yep.
I don't know what they're ranked. 10th. They're not that good. I'm not trying to be rude about Iowa. I mean, I'm clear-eyed about who they are and who they're not. Nebraska can beat that team, and I think they know they can. They just got to go do it, and that'll be a huge game on President's Day. Yeah,
Monday.
Day.
Yep. At 11 o'clock in the morning, by the way.
Yeah, I'll see you there.
Yep,
I mean,
I'll be there.
I'll go to that one. I think that's going to be a big game. Not a referendum at all on Amy's tenure because she's fine, but like that's one you got to go win, and I think they'll put their best foot forward.
Sam, Connor and I did a thing earlier where we were ranking college basketball teams in tiers and everything. Who would you say are your top 4 teams right now in college basketball? Now that everybody essentially has at least one loss, not counting Miami of Ohio. So apologies if you were putting them in there. But who are your top 4 teams right now, college basketball?
Arizona, Duke, Michigan, Kansas.
I was wondering if Kansas was going to be.
Yeah.
It feels like they're about to make a run.
The ceiling is tantalizing.
I'm disgusted by it. I wanted them dead and buried. Jamie Dixon let them off the hook in January, and here we are.
Yeah, I'm not a big Kansas guy either, but whatever. I mean, that's just me growing up here in Nebraska. But so I think one of the things I would say about KU is they got the chance to go all the way. They also have the chance to be that team that loses in the second round because their best player, they don't know if he's going to play.
Please.
So, many years ago, they had the best team in the country, and they lost in the second round to Stanford because Andrew Wiggins played, but Joel Embiid, nobody knew what was going on with him. And it was the same kind of situation where nobody really knows whether he's going to play or he's not going to play, and the agent's involved and all this other stuff. And I'm sure it's deja vu a little bit for Bill Self. But if Peterson plays and they're all sort of connected defensively, Kansas is one of the best 4 teams. I'll throw Houston in there too. I mean, does anybody really want to play Houston in the NCAA tournament? No, because they defend their tails off. But there's also a game in there in the NCAA tournament where Houston might, lose because they only scored 59 points. So I think those are probably the 5 that I've watched. Duke's awfully good. They've blown a couple games, but I wouldn't want to play them early in the tournament because defensively they're very good.
So you mentioned that about Kansas with the tournament. Do you what is the best version of, now I'm just playing into the Schaefer of it all, but what is the best version of Kansas that lost in the first or second round?
Oh,
is it, because I would say the one that Ali Farouk-Manesh took out with his 3, I thought they were the best team in the country that year, and they went home in that second round. And you mentioned, I forgot Andrew Wiggins and Joel Embiid played together.
Well, I mentioned the Embiid thing yesterday.
I completely forgot about Wiggins being on that Kansas team.
Yeah. So the one that got knocked out by you and I is the best one because Joel Embiid did not play. He didn't play in the game. So there were 2 2 games, and they were said, well, maybe he'll play in the next weekend, and he just didn't play. So that one, the best team that Kansas ever had that blew it was the one that lost to Arizona back in, when we were kids. The one that had Jock Vaughn and
like
Rachel
95.
Prince and Paul Pierce. They were like 31-1. Arizona did go on to win the national championship. So, but that one was the one that I remember probably the most, because everybody basically had Kansas as their national champion, and they didn't make it. So, but yeah, Kansas has had a lot of these stories. They lost to UTEP one year back in the 90s. They lost to Bradley in the first round. They lost
Bucknell.
to Bucknell. I mean,
Yeah.
this is KU's story. Now they've also won, a couple national titles.
We don't have to talk about that. We can just focus on the first or second round action.
They've won some national titles too, so it's not a complete sob story the way that like Purdue is. Purdue's just never won one, and they're not going to win one either. But maybe they'll make an Elite Eight. I could see Purdue getting the Elite Eight.
Yeah. All right, Sam. Well, we'll save the football stuff for a different time. We'll take a week off from it this week. Appreciate you taking the time as always, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care, guys.
Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald. All right, so the team that lost to Northern Iowa, the KU team that lost to Northern Iowa, who beat Lehigh in the first round. So that was the Thomas Robinson. Okay. So that was the Sharon Collins.
Yeah, Sharon Collins was the guy I was thinking of.
So they put them in the AP poll at the end of the season, even though they lost to Northern Iowa in the second round. They still put them at number 1 in the final AP poll. That's how good everybody thought they were.
Yeah, they were
preseason number 1. They were number 1 throughout the majority of the season too. Oh yes,
because that's like in your your junior in high school,
when
like you're
Frockenesh
locked in
made the
on
shot.
sports.
Yeah.
That was. I was in Kansas City that the first couple of days of the tournament, and we drove back that day. And I always wonder if I would have had my lights punched out if I had been in Power and Light when that game happened, because I would have been the worst person to have been around for a Kansas fan in that moment.
They have some really bad tournament losses for sure.
So isn't it amazing? Let's go through them.
The next year they lost to VCU.
Yep.
Then they lost to Kentucky in the national championship game.
Yeah, I didn't love that one.
Then they lost to Michigan in the Sweet 16. Then they lost to Stanford in the round of 32.
Which I had forgotten about that. When he said that, I had to go back, and I completely forgot that Andrew Wiggins was on that team.
The classic Wichita State.
Yeah.
That was your Wichita State was in the Final Four. Lost to Villanova in the Elite Eight. They lost to Oregon in the Elite Eight. Dane Altman, did you hear that he went to a Final Four?
I did.
Jim Palan didn't. Villanova in the Final Four. Let's see. I'm just doing it every year now. Auburn in the round of 32. No tournament in 20. 21 USC in the second round. 22 they won the national championship.
Disgusting.
20 they beat Creighton on their way. They almost lost to Creighton on their way to the national championship. The Baby Jays almost got them. Arkansas in the round of 32 a few years ago. Gonzaga in the round of 32 2 years ago. Arkansas in the first round last year. And who knows what'll happen with Darren Peterson and the boys this year.
Yeah,
Schaefer's going to be excited.
A delightful upset is what we're rooting for.
All right, we will be back around at the hour next on 1620 The Zone.
You're listening to Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
I was reading my favorite newspaper yesterday, the Des Moines Register, and a headline caught my attention. Bring the Bears to Iowa. Bill makes pitch for Chicago Bears Stadium. Schaefer, I would imagine that you'd like to click on this, yes?
Yeah, we're clicking.
Bear down, Iowa. A group of Republican state senators is making a legislative play for Iowa to become the Chicago Bears' new home. Senate File 2252, unveiled yesterday, would expand one of Iowa's biggest economic development programs to provide financial incentives for an NFL team to build a stadium in Iowa. It comes as the Bears renegotiate a stadium project to move on from Soldier Field while eyeing outside things. Iowa's mega program provides economic development incentives designed to attract capital investments, blah, 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 blah. But the headline of the article still remains. Let's see. One of the senators involved in this bill, Carrie Gruhagen of Walcott, said the Chicago Bears are looking for a state that will welcome them with open arms. And this bill was a way to show that Iowa is open for business if their home state doesn't want them. Quote, when Illinois and Indiana squabble over this issue, we are ready to get off the sidelines and into the game, Gruhagen said in the statement. Bringing an NFL team to Iowa would attract jobs, tourism, and fans to our state and give us the opportunity to showcase what Iowa really has to offer. Iowans have dedicated themselves to our college sports teams, and we are ready to attract a professional team to our great state.
Senator Walcott, Senator Gruhaven?
Senator Gruhagen.
Senator Gruhagen.
From Walcott.
Comes from Walcott, which is a community of 1,500 people.
We're ready for an NFL team. I know what it takes.
Now, did it say where they would put the team?
I don't. It doesn't seem like it. No. I read the story
not the
last
Quad
night.
Cities, I think it's a non-starter for me.
Schaefer just wants to put the Bears in exile, which is the Quad Cities.
The Quad Cities makes the most sense.
From a Mike Schaefer-Friend perspective.
Yeah, basically. I mean, what are you going to put them in Dubuque?
Now that
There's no room over there.
Now that is a town that needs an NFL team.
Put the Bears on the river.
Put the Bears right on the banks of the Mississippi, right next to the Diamond Joe Casino.
The Mississippi River Bears?
The Mississippi River Bears. That's a lot better.
The Dubuque Mississippi River Bears.
Just think, when I go to Dubuque every year, they'd be doing training camp.
Oh, man. Yeah, I just think you put it in the Quad Cities, the Quad City Bears. It's better than the Iowa Bears. You don't want to put them in Des Moines.
No, it's too big.
Yeah, Des Moines doesn't need the Bears.
They're already looking to move out to the suburbs / a smaller town, so why not put them in Dubuque?
Yeah. I really think the Dubuque Mississippi River Bears is a great name and should be considered.
I agree. Now, ultimately, what this is just politicians attempting to say something that will get some sort of public run.
Do you remember?
And it has. So this is not happening at all, but it's very funny.
Do you remember there was a man running for governor in Nebraska
who said he was going to do?
He wanted to bring an NFL team.
Mm-hmm.
And if you went to his website, like part of his pitch is all of the surrounding communities that like this could be their local team. And one of them was Mason City, Iowa, for some reason, got like listed.
Nice.
Mason City, not a particularly large community.
No.
That's what I think of here.
So there's a lot
guy
of
running for governor who wants to bring an NFL team.
There's a lot of precedent here for politicians saying that they want NFL teams in their state, and this is just another example. But I thought it would be a perfect idea for us to say out loud, move the Bears to Iowa. That would be great.
Would Matt McMaster still root for the Bears if they were the Dubuque, Mississippi River Bears?
That is a great question. I think he would probably quit them.
He got real mad when the Gare Bears seemed like a possibility.
Yeah. Now, I don't know. They're probably going to get the Arlington Heights thing done.
They're definitely
is what it seems like. But Michael Brunt said to confront this. I think his plan, I haven't heard from him lately on this, but his initial plan was just to quit the A's.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to do that.
The A's left him, and so he's leaving the A's.
I think initially he was going to quit the A's, but now I think he's talked himself into staying with the new version of the A's, but hate watching them.
Oh, okay. So basically, he just quit baseball.
I don't know if he's quit. And so I think we'll have to pin him down on this. Well, you won't be there on Monday, but
If you're a Chicago guy, you're a Bears fan. If the Bears leave you and go to Iowa, do you stick with them?
the Bears in Iowa.
Would you stick with the Bears?
They already have the Iowa Cubs. Why not the Iowa Bears?
The Mississippi River Bears are coming to a city near you. Let's take a break. We'll come back 9 o'clock hour. Laura Michelson will join us in a few minutes. By the way, a tweet here from Sam. While this would never happen, this would be terrible for me as a Packers fan. We'd stop getting our local games on Fox. A great point. It'd be horrible for the state of Nebraska. And if you're not a Bears fan.
Well, I have a Sunday ticket package. It doesn't matter.
You'd have to get Sunday ticket. You'd have to make a separate investment, Sam. Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. You're listening to Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
All right, just past 9 here on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. We still have the Get Your Bleep Together 5K sweepstakes, which goes until February 24th on our website, 1620thezone.com. Check that out right now. You have a chance to get your bleep together and win $5,000. We did not, this happened after we left the airwaves yesterday, but we did have the discussions about Bill Moose and his takes from his book called Crab Creek Chronicles. In the Crab Creek Chronicles, he suggested that there were some forces that were above him at the state level, at the regent level, that caused him to not try to woo Dana Altman to be Nebraska's basketball head coach after he was going to fire Tim Miles. He specifically called out Jim Palan, who was a regent at the time and is now the governor, as you know. So they were talking about this, of course, yesterday morning on the ticket, where our friend Jake and Sipple and Bill Bush are, and they did a video and whatever. And Jim Palan, the governor, saw this, that people were talking about it, and he screenshotted the final score of the Nebraska-Oregon game from like 3 weeks ago, 90-55 Nebraska, and then just left it there as to say, I'm dunking on them because I was right. The guy that Nebraska actually got was much better than the guy that Bill Moose would have wanted to get, who was Dana Altman. Once again, this all is so funny because I don't know that Bill Moose actually was going to have the opportunity to get Dana Altman, whatever. And then the thing that I wanted to spend a minute on, who hates Dana Altman? I don't get it. What's the point in saying, no, you cannot have Dana Altman? We talked about the whole, like, the 6 people, who would have been like, oh, he can't coach here. He was at Creighton. I don't think that's an actual real thing. It's certainly not a reason why you don't hire a head coach. But, like, what a weird dunk a decade later to be like, told you, I was right. I hate this Altman guy. And he sucked in the first place. I've never heard that from literally anyone before.
Yeah, I mean, I know of enough people that like wouldn't be excited about Dana Altman having been named the next coach, relative to Fred Hoiberg, who ended up being named the next coach after Tim Miles, which I think is fine. I don't know anyone that has ever come forward with like a personal beef.
I'm out on Dana Altman. I've never heard anyone say that.
So what's funny to me, I went and I just checked on this. He could have went back to the year before's result too. Dana Altman has never beaten Nebraska in a conference basketball game.
Dana Altman has never beaten Nebraska in a conference.
He might have.
He was at
K-State, Kansas State.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, so he might have there.
I'm sure
in
he
a
did.
Big Ten basketball game.
There you go. Yeah, very specific because he's played him played him in a lot of different places at a lot of different times.
He has beaten Nebraska before.
He has beaten Nebraska before a few times,
but not Big Ten Nebraska.
Somebody said yesterday that he was like, I think it was like exactly 500 against Nebraska career or something like that.
I can believe that.
16-16, I think was the tweet that I saw going around yesterday. But what a weird bookend to this whole Bill Moose thing that finally ended up where it did with the
had chance for even more gasoline to that fire.
Really? What?
The show that you mentioned earlier. They have him
on
today.
Oh, yeah, he's on there.
I talked with one of their hosts yesterday, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to see if we can get some more detail about that meeting that just kind of got written past. I was like, do you think you're going to get actual detail? And he's like, no. So we'll find out. That would have happened a little bit earlier. I feel like
I haven't seen any videos.
I haven't either. So
I wonder if Jim Palan will go on there next.
Well, that's the other. They've
had Jim Palan on
like
there
multiple times.
Yeah.
They should let them just meet up on the show. Have Sipple moderate it.
Yeah, they'd do a town hall with Bill Moose, Dana Altman,
the Dana Altman discussions.
Dana Altman, Jim Palan, and Fred Hoiberg. You know, he gets to be there too. He's
Hoiberg
like, what am I doing?
Hoiberg does not want to be in that.
What am I doing?
Yeah, he wants out.
A text from the 402. Dana might have been uncomfortable at the Go Big Red cheer. One thing that I'm really happy that Nebraska doesn't do at their opening press conferences for their coaches is make them chant Go Big Red like Arkansas does with Woo Pig Suey, which may have been the reason Altman left Arkansas that one time.
The look on his face as it happens had a lot.
What a day that was. I was at a Nebraska Creighton baseball game at Rosenblatt Stadium. And then somebody told me, because I don't think there was Twitter, or it was very early Twitter or something like that. And someone was like, hey, Dana's coming back. And I was like, what? What do you mean? That was crazy. And then I saw the video on KETV later.
There wouldn't have been Twitter yet.
It was 2010, wasn't it? It was,
oh no, it wasn't.
It was 2008,
2007.
2007. Yeah.
I was a freshman in college.
Yeah, probably no Twitter. So I don't know how
Twitter,
I heard about.
Started in 2008.
I don't know how I heard about this news, but I had caught wind of it in the stands. However, people used to find out news, and I was excited. And then later, I turned on the news at 10:30, and they had a picture of Dana, like they had video of Dana in the dark walking back into his office in the old gym, and it was like, oh my God, he actually did come back. It's incredible.
What a weird deal.
But he would not have been required to do the Go Big Red cheer at Nebraska.
So who did they actually end up with then after that?
Arkansas?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know. I don't know the lore.
Because I know at one point they ended up with the guy that was at Missouri, whose name is escaping me.
So I got to go back to Arkansas 2008.
Do they have? Was it Mike?
John Pelfrey.
Okay.
Who in the hell is John Pelfrey? John Pelfrey was the coach at South Alabama the year before that. And then got fired from Arkansas in 2011 and ended up resurfacing as the coach at Tennessee Tech, where he is currently at. He is currently the coach at Tennessee Tech.
How's he been doing at Tennessee Tech?
Not bad.
Not great.
Not bad.
Great. 66 and 119.
Not bad. Not bad for Tennessee Tech. No, they haven't gone over 500 like at all in his time there. So that's who they got coaching Arkansas.
Mike Anderson was the name I could not come up with.
Mike Anderson was after that, right?
Yeah.
John Pelfrey was there for a few years. Then it was Mike Anderson. We're going through Arkansas basketball coaches now. And then you go to Bus, and now you're at Coach Cal. What a
Talk
run.
about an incredible 28-year run where you go from Eddie Sutton to Nolan Richardson, by the way.
Yeah.
Like two Hall of Fame coaches for 28 years.
Sam tweets in at Happer and Schaefer. It's also weird that Palan functionally confirmed it. I thought he'd be like, I don't recall that exchange, or he didn't have to say anything at all.
Yeah.
He just threw out a tweet about it. Very odd. Very, very odd. And then we have another text from the 402. I have an abnormally large Nebraska ball circle nearing a 20-person group text. Nightmare. A 20-person group text about Nebraska ball. I'm out. We all would have loved to see Dana. Wild take by Pillin. I don't know. Revisionist history is something, but that was what we were dealing with yesterday, Mr. Palan.
I'm trying to think of the other anecdotes, like trying to think of what Ronnie Green could just tweet.
Or how about we get like Bob Bowlesby involved? We call it Bob Bowlesby. It's like, hey, were you gonna take Nebraska in the Big 12 in 2020? Yeah. Were there? Do you know about recalling these secret meetings and be like, oh yeah? Because did he get fired from the Big 12 or did he quit? And
I
then
think
Big
he
Idea
quit,
Commissioner
and
Man
then
took over.
they have your mark now.
Yeah. I call him Big Idea Commissioner Man.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
He has many ideas, and they're mostly weird. So I call him Big Idea Commissioner Man.
I think that's a fair name. Yeah, I don't know what Bob Bowlesby's doing now.
He's probably just chilling. One more thing before we get to Lauren here.
It could be a poll question. Is Bob Bowlesby just chilling?
Is Bob Bowlesby just chilling right now? We have a college basketball game that is on the slate. Joey, wake up. It's time to talk about schedules. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Villanova and Notre Dame are in the final stages of solidifying a scheduling sacrament to begin the 2026-2027 season. That's right. The Wildcats and Fighting Irish men's and women's basketball teams have been given special clearance by the NCAA to open next season in Rome for a doubleheader on Sunday, November 1st. Sources told CBS Sports. Notre Dame and Villanova, the motivation, of course, before this doubleheader, the Pope's alma mater and Chicago's team, Notre Dame, I suppose, would be the other thing. Villanova and Notre Dame going to get together in Rome. And
let's make sure we say the sentence again in about 40 minutes. Chicago's team.
Notre Dame. Big Notre Dame presence in Chicago. Also very prominent private Catholic schools. And then Pope, what is his name? Pope Leo.
I am not the
Pope
guy.
Leo. Robert Francis Prevost graduated from Villanova in 1977. Look at that. Holy basketball.
So,
holy Toledo.
Do you, this game, like, is there just going to be a throne for the Pope to sit on as he watches?
I think you go all the way and you put it like in the most ridiculous place you can, like on some sort of I don't know what their situation is out there, but like put it outside.
I would hope it's played in the Vatican.
Like it literally
within
in church.
Yes. Yes.
Great idea.
Exactly.
And then have a big chair for the Pope to sit in
there
and he watches and he doesn't root for either team one way or the other.
And the officials look at him and he kind of makes hand motions as to whether he agrees or disagrees with a foul being called there.
Apparently, unfortunately, they have a place for this game already. It will be at the Palazzetto dello Sport, known more colloquially as the Palatiziano.
Yeah, it sounds terrible.
A 3,500 seat arena and has existed since the 1950s.
Meh.
And it's a 30-minute drive for the Pope from the Vatican to the
Who said he's going to drive?
Will he be in the
he's
Pope
the Pope-mobile. I think he's got to take the Pope-mobile.
Joey,
right?
are you familiar with what the Pope-mobile
No,
is?
I'm not.
It's a little.
I'm not invested in this stuff.
Like a moped, basically.
It's like a
covered
glass,
moped,
almost like a glass ATV of some sort.
Yeah.
That the Pope was riding around in and was made with bulletproof glass, so he couldn't be shot, but he could also be a man of the people.
Get him to the Palatiziano.
When do we think the Pope Mobile came into existence?
To watch college basketball. Great question. I'd like to find an answer for that before we take a break, by the way, which we really do need to take a break. So hopefully you find that very soon.
In the 70s, it looks like.
All right. Who was poping? Who was poping at that time?
Okay, so the glass was added following the 1981 assassination attempt on Pope John Paul.
Okay.
So it looks like the 80s.
All right. That's for you, Pope John Paul. We'll be back with Lauren Michelson next on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
As the John Bishop projection machine.
All right, Wednesday, just shy of 9:30 here, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. And we're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Lauren Michelson from KETV. Lauren, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, you guys. I'm kind of tired this morning. I can't imagine how you two feel after a late-ish night of hoops.
It has to be. So it's like a late-ish night, but also the game got really intense. And so I feel like that takes more mileage off and then in turn makes you more tired the next day, right?
Yes, it's a wild for so many reasons. Like got hit by a truck type of game. You're like, whoa, what just happened? What did we just witness?
All of a sudden you wake up 12 hours later, you're like, whoa, or 8 hours later or whatever it is. And you're like, am I okay? Yeah, something happened.
How Lauren, how quickly do you have to kind of like, so that game, Nebraska's down 22 points. And so, this I'm assuming is the major part of your sports broadcast last night.
Yeah.
And so then they make their comeback. How quickly, as you're shooting all of this and the game is going on, you're like mentally transitioning from, okay, I've got to put together a highlight package for Nebraska losing by 22 and getting blown out to all of a sudden we're a rink mass free throw away from seeing this be a victory. Like you have to kind of have a very quick mental capacity to flip how you're going to build this entire package throughout the course of this game.
Yeah, and it was last night was interesting because it was their toughest regular season test yet, like left. We sent a team out there, so I had a photographer with me, a sports photographer who was shooting the game. So at halftime, he gave me the SD card and we're editing, and I'm kind of thinking of I have a block hit and the news hit off the top at 10 o'clock, and then you have a sports block hit later on in the show, and I'm like, well, I already know exactly what I'm saying. They lost this one in the first couple minutes of the game, and then halftime ends and we get back out there and like, wait, what is going on? So yeah, you do have to quickly flip, and we edit the first half highlights thinking we'll show one thing and then completely scratch that. You're only showing second half, maybe like one play from that 14-1 run, and that's about it. So it's a lot of quick thinking, but that was so. I mean, that's the best part, right? It was wild. I mean, I cannot believe they came back from 22 points, and like there's a lot you can break that in that game. But I think the biggest thing is what Hoiberg said afterwards was like, yeah, we came back from 22 to force overtime. We literally let it slip away in a sense when Jamarcus Lawrence slipped, taking that inbound, and but ultimately, like, we just can't let ourselves be in that position in the first place. Like, Purdue should not have gotten off to that start they did, and this is going to really hurt us down the stretch, especially in March.
So you weren't actually on the baseline shooting the game last night?
Nope, for once I was not.
Okay, so I was going to ask, like, maybe it would have been a good night too, because then you would have been able to see if there was or wasn't.
Yeah, were you reviewing that film?
A puddle, near the place where Jamarcus slipped.
I was at that point. I had walked down and I was standing next to my photographer. So, I mean, yeah, 1,000%. There was water there that was not wiped up, and that's why he slipped. I mean, it wasn't like he just stumbled. It was, I mean, full on wipeout, and it was right after a timeout. So I just. So unfortunate. I've seen a lot of videos on Twitter now this morning of Nebraska fans showing Purdue's bench and what could have happened. I don't know. But yeah, of course it was not wiped off correctly, and that is incredibly unfortunate. And I thought Hoiberg would have been a little more fired up about that in the postgame presser than he was. He kind of just brushed over it, was like, yep, unfortunate, but like we had every opportunity, and we had to literally wait until the 11th hour in this one. That can't happen.
You've now seen Michigan, Purdue, Illinois here in the last little more than 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you were at the Michigan State game earlier this year. Who's the team that's impressed you the most that you've watched Nebraska play out of the Big Ten so far?
Well, I'd say, honestly, I would have said Illinois, but I think after last night, if Purdue can play like that, it'd be Purdue. But they had been so inconsistent heading into last night. They were in desperate need of a get-right game, just as Nebraska was at Rutgers over the weekend. I'd say still maybe Illinois. I think the common theme for all three of those teams in regards to Nebraska is just the trend in which they've lost. Like Nebraska in these losses, their lack of physicality in the post is so prevalent. And when you've seen Michigan, Illinois, and Purdue, like what can they do that Nebraska can't? Well, they're dominating on the glass. And we knew Nebraska may have trouble with these bigger, more athletic teams. And well, now the question for Nebraska is how do you make up for maybe a lack of size and physicality or disparity in that sense against these teams? And what do you have to do? Well, you have to be the team that fights harder, that wants it more. And Nebraska didn't do that last night. I kind of went away from your question there, but I'm just thinking now, like, oh gosh, like, what are we going to see Nebraska do come the postseason? And the hot and cold of Nebraska against these teams is concerning me a little bit.
Yeah, right. I was just going to ask you, like, well, okay, so from a Nebraska standpoint, what is the concern? And I always put it this way through this lens, like up until that Michigan game and over the last couple of weeks, we really hadn't seen them. You hadn't seen the result go poorly for them, so it's almost hard to nitpick at the things they are good and aren't good at. Now we've seen the warts a little bit more obviously. Not that they're any more significant than any other team, but like what stands out to you the most about things that could come back and bite Nebraska since you've seen them actually lose over the last couple weeks?
Yeah, I think it's just what I mentioned. Like when you look at the stats over the last the last few losses they've had, like last night they allowed Purdue 21 offensive boards, like Illinois won the battle on the glass, Michigan won the battle of the glass, and then you add in the 14 turnovers last night, which was pretty uncharacteristic of this team. But I think it's just that physicality in the post, like what's concerning is it's kind of like you can't really fix that against a bigger, more physical team. So then the biggest concern from there comes with, well, Nebraska, when they've been really, really good, they play hard and they are the team that wants it more, and their fight is unbelievable. And you see Cale Jacobson diving for these 50-50 balls and Sam Hoiberg, an absolute menace, and they just play so tough. And I think when things have not gone right for Nebraska, especially against Michigan and Illinois and Purdue, it's because that's gone away a little bit. And that is what Coach said last night. Like we just didn't play with that same confidence and swagger we have seen in these wins. So that inconsistency is not good, especially knowing what is on the horizon. And I think that'd be the biggest thing right now.
I heard both Happer and Sam say this, and I was in the arena last night, and I don't know that I felt it in the same way, even though I was there. Do you feel like the team really just sort of fed off of the crowd at times last night? I almost felt like more the crowd reacted to what the team was doing, but I guess it all sort of works in the same circle.
Yeah, I mean, like Nebraska said all year, like this crowd absolutely energizes them. Like Pinnacle Bank Arena is great to play in. Like Painter said it last night in the post presser, like, how do you deal with the noise when it's so loud and deafening? And he's like, well, you don't. You just kind of get used to it. So I do think. I mean, it's hard to feed off a crowd who has gone completely quiet after a 14-1 run to open the game. And you're thinking of every worst scenario possible. And then when you get back to overtime and it's just like unbelievably loud and exciting in there, yeah, I mean, that's a big reason too. So. But again, it's just kind of like the antics of the crowd and all of that is just so does not matter when, like, it does matter in a way, but when you're playing in Chicago and you're in the postseason, it's just kind of like, well, what you gotta work through it regardless. And at this point in the season, they are too good of a team when they are on to let anything on the outside affect them.
What's on the docket the rest of the week for you? It's been a little light in the midweeks here with local basketball over the last couple of weeks. Any plans for the rest of the week and what you're covering?
Yeah, I know weekend work plans. I mean, yeah, we'll have basketball on deck. Like tonight's weird because there's so many away games with Creighton and Nebraska women, but we're kind of on that like feature grind. Like what's a feature story you can crank out? I've spent a good amount of time over at UNO doing some stories. So we're going to catch up with Mike Hurd from Omaha softball this afternoon. And he's always a joy to talk to. They're off to a great start.
They are
pretty good. Yeah, it's exciting. Softball's in a really, really great space in the state of Nebraska right now.
I think so too. All right, Lauren, always appreciate you taking the time. Have a good rest of your week.
Thanks, guys. Talk later.
That is Lauren Michelson from KETV. Does a fantastic job. It is. We haven't mentioned softball had its opening weekend this past weekend. Nebraska performed admirably, taking down the number one team, also losing to them once, and having a 3-2 weekend. Omaha looked like they had a couple wins, and I think Creighton got 1 or 2 as well. So I think we are in a pretty good place. I mean,
Yeah.
the Mavs have been sort of the team to watch out for. Like, obviously Nebraska's at a little bit of a different level.
Sure.
They're trying to go to the College World Series, but like, the Mavs are really solid.
No, I mean, that is one of those sports where you talk about in-state talent and how the volleyball scene around here has really both benefited and also propped up Nebraska volleyball and the area universities and everything else. I think the same is true with softball. I mean, there's really good softball players in the state of Nebraska, and it's one of those things that they've tended to leave. And if you can keep more of them to stay, the local teams are going to be very good because of it.
No doubt about it. And it looks like they're in that spot right now. And then, of course, baseball this weekend. Now, I don't think our local news stations will be covering the baseball for a couple weeks here.
That would probably be nice. Be like, all right,
I'm off to Phoenix. Peace.
I got to go cover this 4-game set down in Phoenix. Feel bad for me.
I got Nebraska and UConn.
Yeah.
I was looking at their roster and just to see who they had coming back on the mound. My guess would be they go with a pretty good lefty by the name of Oliver Pudvar.
Okay.
This weekend, but I don't know.
We think
It's on MLB Network.
I assume Ty Horn is getting the ball.
Ty Horn is getting the ball. We know that.
The start for Nebraska on Friday. So
Did you hear him say, by the way, did you hear what he said yesterday at his
No.
they did availability, and he had a clip was like, maybe this is 2 days ago now. He was like, yeah, I just felt like there was a couple guys in the locker room that were like a cancer, and he said this.
Bolt did?
No, Horn did.
Oh.
And now we're like in a better place. I'm like, whoa, jeez. Now I don't know if he was talking about last year's team or 2 years ago's team, but it was like, I was like, oh wow, he said that out loud.
Nebraska baseball, for a sport that probably gets talked about very little until the end of the season, most years, they've had some like locker room issues and clubhouse issues and time
coaches
where,
just straight up don't like the players.
Will Bolt has just wanted everyone gone
Uh-huh.
from his entire roster. It is kind of fascinating. Like, I feel like I hear more about it from baseball than I do almost any other sport.
It is. I mean,
Maybe
there's
I'm
a
a
lot
little
of people
more in tune with it, or because Brunts usually has the information and needs to share it with me.
I do remember that being a talking point at probably
a couple years ago.
Yeah.
He wanted everybody gone.
Well, and then look at their roster; they filled them all with JUCOs
Right.
and stuff like that. So
Red ass baseball boys.
you're sort of at the mercy of what you get, but you got to know what you're looking for as well. And also losing doesn't help.
No,
If you're losing a whole bunch, it's
losing
not-
never helps.
not
There's
easy.
also just an element of this where it's like some coaches have to adjust to what youth of today are like in a way that maybe they weren't or aren't always prepared to do because they're very much not what they used to be.
And let's face it, baseball players pretty traditionally and still to this day, weirdos. So
very
we
much
have
so.
to just be honest about this. All right.
That's why they're the best.
We'll be back after this and round things out on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. We are rounding things out on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Look at this conversation about Prasco Park in the YouTube chat. This is great.
Sometimes the YouTube chat just goes off on a side thing.
I love it. Keep doing your own thing.
Oh, no, I don't want them to do anything different. I sometimes am just like, I wonder where this got started. And then I'm scrolling back up to try to figure out the thread of it all.
Connor Happer, Prasco Park honk. Prasco puts a thing on, but those two both play Wright State and Miami instead of each other. Cincinnati and Xavier. Well, they probably figure if Cincinnati and Xavier played each other, they might fight each other, and they would never have that at Prasco Park.
No fighting at Prasco Park.
No, you would know. You would
Robin
never be allowed.
Ventura, Nolan Ryan, not allowed.
It's like they don't make you actually sign anything, but it's pretty clear there's signage everywhere. Like if you're here, you're gonna respect this situation.
Did you see,
you'll have the greatest time ever, but you will respect the Prasco Park.
in reference to fighting, did you see the Royals are slightly related to a promotional night involving the Rangers giving away a Nolan Ryan?
Oh, the bloody jersey?
Yeah, the bloody shirt. They play the Royals.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. That makes sense.
That's a great promotional item.
I'm sure the Royals have done many times over the years some version of the pine tar.
Oh, they definitely have done a pine tar one.
Okay.
I've seen that.
So
they still do T-shirt Tuesdays?
Same idea.
I feel like that went away.
T-shirt Tuesdays? Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
They for a long run would have their like college night was on Tuesdays, and you could get in for like super cheap with a college ID.
Yeah, that probably is still a
But
thing.
then they started winning games, and I think they stopped doing that.
Maybe this is not good anymore.
It was like, no, we can sell these to real fans.
Well, they used to do Buck Night, and I don't think they do Buck Night anymore. I think they just call it, but they deal. So Dollar Dogs are back. Everybody's doing Dollar Dogs again.
They should.
I thought Dollar Dogs was going to end years ago.
Why?
After dogs stopped being a dollar. And then they kind of did, but now there's this whole trend on hot dogs again. I think hot dogs are back.
They never left for some of us.
For some people, but like it is cool to like hot dogs now. And so Dollar Dogs are back at ballparks near you.
Why was it ever uncool?
I don't know. It just has a connotation. You see a hot dog.
I mean, I definitely have noticed a lot more like golf related apparel that have hot dogs on them.
Yeah, some people stayed with it,
which is a staple of the turn, getting a dog at the shop in between.
It is great. I love a Polish.
Yeah. Polish dog's good.
It's fantastic.
I don't have
get
those
that
as often.
little crunch in there from the casing.
I
or whatever.
bought at Sam's the other day. I bought like a package of Polish sausages that I intended to smoke in the smoker at some point here this spring.
Good job.
It'll be very good. Maybe you can come over. You can enjoy a beer, have a Polish dog.
I would love to.
That'd be nice.
I would love to. Let's talk. So hot dogs are back, as we discussed, but something had to be traded for it. So we have to explain to you what we've lost in the trade. That would be the Game Above Sports Bowl.
Oh no.
It's over. It's canceled, ladies and gentlemen. 29 years at Detroit's Ford Field and the Pontiac Silverdome, also known from me as the Detroit Poop Bowl, is dead, gone, and never to return. We have lost, I believe, 3 bowl games this cycle that are just now defunct. I'm sure some other random game and some other random sponsor will take their place, but we've lost the LA Bowl, the Bahamas Bowl, and now the Detroit Poop Bowl. Can you name all of the former sponsors of the Game Above Sports Bowl?
Game Above Sports, one.
That is one.
Little
Good
Caesars.
job.
Quick Lane.
That is another one. That is another one. And I think there might be one more.
Rocket Mortgage.
So on their Wikipedia page,
Maybe.
they just have the Little Caesars Bowl, and then it was the Quick Lane Bowl.
There had to have been something before Little Caesars if that's a 28-year-old bowl.
The Ford Motor Company. I don't remember it being the Ford Bowl or anything like that. So the Ford had the sponsorship in 1997 And then Ford Chrysler GM had it in 1998 to 2007, but they didn't call it that. They called it the Motor City Bowl.
Yeah,
during
that was a thing.
The Motor City Bowl.
So that's the fourth.
And then the Little Caesars Bowl from 2009 to 2013. Yeah, that was the original one, the Motor City Bowl.
Fun bowl name.
It's gone. It's over, and now I don't have to worry about Nebraska qualifying for it. I've been worried about it constantly for the last 4 years.
We think that
I think the last big red reaction of the regular season, the Charlotte Chamber of Commerce had a conversation with the Detroit.
That's right.
Said
they gave their rights.
Campaigning for Nebraska to be over there. So wonder what they're thinking.
They went to Las Vegas.
I wonder, do we think Iowa State Senator Gruhagen is going to pitch that they bring the Game
Detroit
Above
football.
Sports Bowl to Iowa?
Where would they put it?
I mean,
the Unidome?
Maybe they build that Bear Stadium in the Quad Cities.
Put it in the Dome.
Yeah, I think you go for the Unidome on that one. They're playing college softball at the Unidome.
Really?
Yeah, they play a big tournament to start the year every year.
Did not know.
I know
that's where UNO was.
Like the Dairy Queen Classic that they used to play at the Metrodome. That
Yes,
Bruntz waxes poetically
I'm
about?
pretty sure still exists, but it's now called the Cambria Classic.
Yeah,
and it's in the Viking Stadium.
I know they'll play a bowl. And the Junior College League will play a bowl over there postseason.
The Junior College.
And
okay, gotcha.
Odson would back me up on
at
this.
the Unidome.
Yeah.
Yes. Of course, you must use the Unidome.
Do you know the name Luke Gorsett? Does that mean anything to you? Former Nebraska baseball player.
Vaguely, maybe.
He went absolutely nuts in like one of the Dairy Queen Classics.
Nice.
Had like a 3-game set where he just bombed out his big year at Nebraska.
Nice.
So that's what I think of when I think of the Dairy Queen Classic.
I like these random weird indoor events, and we're about to get some more in Mountain West football. I saw the
Dakota Dome,
yeah, the Fargo Dome is going to be the Dakota Dome is
South Dakota.
South
my
Dakota.
bad.
The Fargo Dome.
The Fargo Dome.
So it's like a 18 or 19,000 seat stadium, and everybody else in the Mountain West has at least like 40 or 50,000, which will be very, very interesting and different. Which, by the way, we'll leave you on this. North Dakota State is petitioning for immediate college football playoff and postseason access as it jumps up. And their argument is that it's sort of like an outdated rule. NDSU athletic director Matt Larson said, quote, "It's a very antiquated rule. A lot of things have changed in our industry, and you could argue that it's an overly punitive rule now." And they are doing that along with paying a variety of different fees, all in effort to be eligible to go to the playoff, which, I mean, they could. They could.
Do you think the big winner in this for North Dakota State is how many people will play as them in college football 26?
Absolutely. Their brand awareness.
Popular team.
Yes.
That will appear in college football 26.
Their brand awareness is about to skyrocket.
People are going to have a tough time recruiting to Fargo in that game, though.
Yeah, but people are Hawaii sometimes, and it's hard to recruit to Hawaii.
That is true.
So there you go. All right. That will do it for us today. Always appreciate you guys joining us. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Crossovers coming up next.
It's